1,370 long days since Edmonton fans have seen their team win at home tonight. Will they finally snap the streak or tie a 7-year-old dubious record?
Y'all know I'm a Taylor Cornelius fan. You know I am. And he can play some football. He just doesn't know how to win at home. 0-13. You know, he needs some help around him tonight.
Well, this guy right here he's not going to try to help, I'll tell you that. And I believe Orlando Steinauer and the Ticats, they knew what they were getting with Chris Edwards. He's an antagonist. He's an energy guy. And you need those guys when you're on the road sometimes.
Kevin Brown, a little disappointed on the year he's having this year based on what he did last year. We saw some glimpses of greatness last week. He'll have to do that and even more if these Elks want to get their first home victory.
Well, making his 11th career start and facing Edmonton for the first time, Matthew Shiltz looking to build off his 233-yard performance and keep the Elks' home losing streak alive. Fun fact, Shiltz has actually never beaten a Western opponent.
Holy Shiltz!
Whoa, Shiltz! Welcome to Thursday Night Football, brought to you by 7-Eleven. David Sanchez, Matt Donegan, Milt Stiegel. I have never seen the panel so fired up for the Edmonton Elks because I think the majority of this group, 75% at least, thinks this is the night. Correct, Milt Stiegel?
It's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm guaranteeing it's going to happen. You with me?
I'm with you.
You ride with me, baby. It's going to happen. The monkey is getting off of Chris Jones' back, baby. It's getting off his back. It's going to happen, Matt. It's going to happen.
Man, I'm not buying or drinking that lemonade and milk. I'm not doing it. I just think, you know, they're going to worry about themselves, guys. But at the end of the day, Hamilton, they're worried about themselves, and they're coming off a win. They're coming in there, and they're trying to right the ship here. I'm just saying. I don't think Edmonton's going to get by it tonight.
Yeah, I do think Edmonton wins at home. I think the teams are pretty close. I think that just the home field gives them an advantage. And also, guys, five points combined, 2 games they lost to Sask. This is a better team than their record has indicated.
Yeah, but
they get it done.
Good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose. I don't know about that one, but I'm with Milton Davis. I think tonight is the night. I wonder what our Ryan Rashog thinks, who is currently at Commonwealth Stadium. And Ryan, no doubt, the biggest storyline going into this game is, will the Elks finally get it done and win for their home fans?
Yeah, it's the story, and if they do, it'll make the post-game press conference with the head coach a lot more fun than the last few have been, I have to say. I mean, listen, we all know the numbers, right? 9 in a row, 19 in a row here at home, approaching legendary status as a pro franchise for all the wrong reasons. They're looking to snap it. We talked to some players over the last couple of days. They know it's there. Not all of them have been here the entire time, but they carry the weight of it. They talk about it in the room, but they can't let it weigh them down. What do you do with this albatross? They know it's there, and they just have to push past it. So they trust in their process. Taylor Cornelius talking about the fact they do what they're trained to do, and they trust one of these nights the result is going to take care of itself, and they'll put this streak to bed. Meanwhile, over on the other side, the Hamilton Tiger Cats come in. Courtesy Matt Shiltz riding a bit of confidence, finally getting into the win column. At 30 years of age, he's getting some consistent playing time. Hasn't really seen this from this early on in a season before. I talked to him about that yesterday. He's kind of liking the momentum that he's feeling, right? Normally a guy that just comes off the bench, not a guy that gets a lot of starts in a row, and it's been interesting for him. He's building, and the momentum each game he can feel improvement. So, listen, two teams that have struggled a lot so far this year. We'll see if this thing comes to an end tonight. By the way, the smoke earlier on today was just awful in this city. At a certain point, it felt like the game could have been in question, but a massive storm rolled through and knocked it down. So, Kate, it is cleared up, and now these two teams will have a chance to clash.
Certainly good news, Ryan. All right, so let's take a look at history, and in a bad way tonight for the Edmonton Elks. The St. Louis Browns currently hold the longest streak for home losing, and that is currently sitting at 20 games. And that 1953 season ended up being the last for the Browns in St. Louis, as the franchise actually relocated to Baltimore and, of course, became the Baltimore Orioles. The Elks claimed the CFL's longest home losing streak back on October 1st of last year, surpassing the 1988 Ottawa Rough Riders. And should the Elks lose again tonight, they will need to wait another 2 weeks before their next chance to end their losing streak. With more, here is Dave Naylor.
The world of sports is obsessed with streaks. Things like Joe DiMaggio's 56 games with at least one hit, the Detroit Red Wings winning 23 straight home games during the 2011-2012 NHL season, or Rafael Nadal's 81 straight match victories on clay. Special accomplishments that stand out for their consistency. Athletes or teams that achieve peak performance and manage to stay that way against all challengers. Then there are the other kinds of streaks, the streaks of futility. They fascinate us differently, but just as much. Which brings us to the Edmonton Elks, owners of the CFL's longest home losing streak of 19 consecutive games, a team on the verge of matching an infamous benchmark for all of pro sports.
I'm embarrassed for our organization. I'm embarrassed for our coaching staff. I'm embarrassed for our players. Are we disappointed? Hell yeah, we're disappointed.
Baseball's St. Louis Browns became the Baltimore Orioles almost 60 years ago. But during their final season before leaving the gateway to the West, they reeled off 20 consecutive home losses, spanning 35 days during the 1953 season between June 3rd and July 7th. It's taken Edmonton's CFL team 1,370 days to be in position to match that dubious mark when they host Hamilton on Thursday. It's a journey that's involved 2 team presidents, 2 general managers, 3 head coaches, and 3 starting quarterbacks: Trevor Harris, Taylor Cornelius, Trey Ford, and countless other players with a near complete roster turnover since the last home victory. And oh yes, the streak also spans the name change from Eskimos to Elks, meaning the Elks have never won a home game.
What they've done has been bad. It's been below bad. You want to make history, but not that way. And they have to change something.
Oh, Edmonton has been close, blowing a 14-point lead to Saskatchewan and losing on a walk-off field goal in the game that began the streak in 2019, poised to cash in the clinching score against Ottawa in the 2021 opener, when a red zone turnover goes 102 yards the other way, turning a win into a loss. Ending up on the wrong end of 6 lead changes against Saskatchewan in 2022, then later that season blowing a 16-6 lead to Toronto, with the Argos' winning score coming with 27 seconds to play. And of course, the infamous first and goal from the 1-yard line to open 2023. The agony of defeat is real in Edmonton, once known as the City of Champions, where their teams were celebrated for different kinds of streaks. A city now, at least when it comes to streaks, just bracing for the worst.
You really do have to tell it like it is. This has been absolutely painful to watch. And looking ahead of their schedule, their home games, they got the Lions and the Bombers coming in. When we talk about the fact that they need this one, they absolutely need this victory tonight.
Yeah. I believe in Chris Jones. I really do. And it's, you know, we've seen what we've seen from this team, and it's hard to overlook it. But I've been around Chris a lot, and I believe this. I believe that there's not another coach that's anywhere available right now that's better for this team than Chris Jones. If you watch what he does, watch how he stands in front of this team's failures. To me, it's not, it's difficult, but they have a lot of built-in excuses, but he's not taking any of them.
He's not.
At all.
He's not.
And if I'm a guy in that room, I see that. We see when coaches are trying to point fingers subtly, subconsciously. Chris not doing that. He's standing in front of it, and I respect that. Chris O'Leary for CFL.ca wrote an article I thought was great, just talking about the Elks. And last week it was 3-1. They won the turnover battle last week. They won the time of possession. They had more yards. They were ahead on second down conversions. Almost every stat they were ahead in, but managed to lose the game. That's tough. But if you look at, they're playing better football than their record would indicate. No losses are losses, but they're playing better football. They're still playing better than the record indicate. Absolutely. What's so funny?
Your record says what you are.
We know that, though. I know they haven't
You
won.
don't play better than your record. You know that.
You understand
what I'm saying?
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
No.
I like how you correctly said losses is lost, because you knew you're going to Milk. Because we know how Milk feels about that,
You
right?
know that. And Chris Jones, everything you said is great, but I guarantee he'd rather be in Toronto's situation than his own situation.
Sure.
But it's great to have a coach like Chris Jones in that situation, but I know he and those players are tired of talking about this, because that's all people are asking about. They're not asking about their performance on the field. All they asking about is when you guys are going to get a home victory. So they're planning on getting it tonight. I think they're going to get it tonight. It's not going to be easy. Talent-wise, they haven't stacked up. Everyone, including myself, was expecting so much from this team this year, and they haven't delivered. So they need to get this game tonight.
I think once they get over that hump, things will crystallize for this football team, because I do see the talent out there, Milt. I think they've made a lot of improvements there. We know that Chris Jones has got a great track record in finding talent and accumulating and putting them in the right spot. I think they're there. I go back to 1989 when Troy Aikman was the quarterback, and he started out 0-11 as a starter. And Taylor, maybe you need to pick up the phone, talk to Troy. I did it with Roger Staubach 3 times over the course of my career, in my lifetime, and that's not a bad place to start. But look where Troy ended up. He won 3 Super Bowls and is a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
So hey, it's not where you start, it's where you finish, and this football team certainly understands that, and they're going out there trying to win their first.
You know what, you guys talk about the team too. We want them to end this streak. We're sick of talking about this streak. Can we do one Elk show without talking about this streak? All right, let's get Chris Jones's thoughts right now.
When you have something negative happen, you either drive around with a wrecked car or you fix it. I mean, that's basically the way I look at it.
Please hang in there with us. We love the support. Hey, don't knock it. Don't kill us for it. But we're trying our best. It's not easy out there. Everybody's a professional athlete. So, but I and the staff and the players appreciate the love and the support that y'all give. Don't give up on us. We're working as hard as we can.
There's some optimism. You have to like that. Coming up, we're going to give you our anytime touchdown scores. And Glenn Suter gives us a little love to Tyreek McAllister. About time we started talking about the Tiger Cats on this show.
It's been a challenging time in Edmonton, there's no doubt.
Daggy intercepted, a 15-yard pick 6.
Historic 19-game home losing streak.
Sucks.
No other way to put it.
Now I would have lost my house, bet our record wouldn't be where it's at right now, but it is what it is.
If it's changing players, if it's changing the play calling, they have a lot to fix.
If you've watched the show so far, it's been a rough go for Edmonton fans. October the 12th, 2019, the last time they saw a home victory. Tyreek McAllister hoping to continue that streak with more on the running back. Here's Glenn Suter.
Yeah, Kate, I thought I'd look at the anatomy of the big play in that Hamilton win against Ottawa, their first of the season. Tyreek McAllister making the play, a 64-yard touchdown. And 3 things have to happen for this play to be successful. First of all, your offensive coordinator needs to know the talent well enough to know what type of play to call to put him in the best position. Well, with a speedster like McAllister, this is an ideal play, the bubble screen. Now, in a screen like this, number 2, you need at least 1 block at the point of attack. Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats get 3. Tim White, Keandre Smith, and Duke Williams make their block to spring their fellow receiver in Tyreek McAllister. And then the third element is something that you don't coach. You can draw up the play, you can teach the blocking technique, but you can't coach this. Flat out speed, and he hit top speed at 36 kilometers an hour. If the Hamilton Tiger Cats want to keep that skid alive for the Edmonton Elks tonight, it may be McAllister that can make and can do all the damage.
Well, here is your FanDuel 5, the most staked touchdown props for tonight's Tiger Cats Elks game. Kevin Brown is the only Edmonton player that made the cut this evening. Tim White is the shortest odds of the Hamilton 4 selections. Well, McAllister sits at plus 380 after scoring against Ottawa last week. Time for the experts pick. I say experts lightly. Just be careful with these picks. Let's start with you, Milsteagle.
Stephen Dunbar in the first, 2 games, he was only targeted 9 times. He had over 50 yards. In the last 3 games, he's been targeted 22 times for 228 yards. Now he will score his first touchdown as an Elk against his former team.
I knew you was going there. And Suits, I agree with 2-7 on his analogy about McAllister and use him the right way. He is explosive, getting the rock, and I think Tommy Condell's going to do that. He's an anytime TD back. Shaw.
Dual threat quarterbacks in playoff games, they use their legs, right? That's the time to do it. Well, this is the playoff game for the Elks. Taylor Cornelius will get in the end zone. He's got to be aggressive. He has that skill set. He's got to use it.
Mel, I think you said Kevin Brown was a little bit disappointing so far this season. Yes?
You got KB?
Yes. I got KB, of course. Mainly because we have the same initials and I really enjoy his positivity. That's basically it. I mean, at this point, I haven't won one, so I might as well go for gimmicks. I chose Brown. Chez, you like Cornelius. Matt, you like McAllister. Milt, you like Stephen Dunbar Jr. And AK, he likes James Butler to find pay dirt tonight. Now, speaking of Aaron Perolnick, here he is with the prop shop.
If the Edmonton Elks are looking to end their 19-game home losing streak, they should be looking to utilize the talents of Kevin Brown early and often. And for that reason, I really like the over of 52.5 rush yards for the Edmonton Elks running back for a number of reasons, starting with his opposition in the Hamilton Ticats, who allow almost 120 rush yards against per game. Brown has been used extensively in the Elks offense of late as well. 15 carries last week against Saskatchewan. I think a very similar game script tonight in a close one against Hamilton. A low total, a lot of carries for Brown. Take the over of 52.5 rush. On the other side, another play I love tonight is James Butler, over 62.5 rushing yards. A lot of running tonight in this game, and I think Butler will be the focal point for the Hamilton Ticats, and rightfully so. 38 carries in his last 3 weeks, and of course, he's going up against an Edmonton Elks defense that is historically terrible against the run. I get it. They were pretty good last week against Jamal Morrow and Saskatchewan, but I do not expect that to be a theme tonight. I think Hamilton runs the ball a ton, and Butler has a big night. Maybe a sprinkle on him, plus 600 to lead the week in rushing as well on FanDuel. So those are my 2 plays tonight. I like the over for Kevin Brown, the over for James Butler, and who knows, maybe we see some history tonight for the Elks, albeit in a negative way.
Hamilton defense certainly hoping so. Simone Lawrence and the D allowing the most amount of points so far this season, but only giving up the 13 to Ottawa, looking to build on that performance tonight in Edmonton.
Beats it up, and it is intercepted. Chris Edwards. Big play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Takes a shot over the middle, up in the air. Simone Lawrence has got it. Can he find the end zone? Stacked up and brought down inside the 5. Hamilton gets the stop. No flags down. Their first win of the season.
Oh, look, these fans already some positivity, some thumbs up, some peace signs. Meanwhile, for Jake Ceresna, he joined the Elks November 2019, just after the Elks won their last home game. Will he finally get it tonight? Here he is with Ryan.
Well, Jake, it seems like you've been getting closer and closer each week. Do you feel like the quality of the play is getting to a point where you're ready to break through as a group?
Absolutely. I think, each and every week, I think we go out there with the mindset to win the game, and I think each week we're very close. We just, there's a couple mishaps here or there where we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. So as long as we play 60 minutes of solid ball and we don't hurt ourselves, I think we have a great chance to win tonight.
Take us inside the room a little bit. How have you guys been handling morale, making sure that you haven't gotten down through this streak?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you start the season off 0-5, it's tough. There's people who want to point fingers, but I think this group is resilient. We've been really coming closer together and just making sure that we're all on the same page and knowing what we're capable of. So I'm just excited to see us go out there and play tonight.
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone's saying the right things so far. We'll see what happens on the gridiron. Let's go back to the Hamilton Tiger Cats for just a moment now. And look, it's been an overall pretty rough season. They certainly made some progress in that game against Ottawa, and we saw it before the commercial there, especially defensively.
Yeah, but they were 3 yards away from losing to Ottawa against Dustin Crump, making his, unexpected presence felt when Jeremiah went down. But what I did like was how that defense was flying around, wreaking havoc for whoever was out there in the football field, and who knew Crump could run like that as much as he did. Now they get some film on him, but maybe a different story next time those two teams play. But I really like Jameer Thurman in the middle, what Chris Edwards has brought to the table. Davis, you mentioned it earlier, a bit of an edge player, much like the guy on the other side, and Simone Lawrence. Those guys fly around, wreak havoc, and I think it's going to be a tough night for Taylor Cornelius.
Yeah, and to your point, you need guys like that on the road, especially in an environment like this. Guys like that help. Look, I look at Tim White, and they need big plays. We know that, and if Matthew Schultz he's got to find ways to get the ball down the field, get the ball to Tim White. I mean, I think that Edmonton is going to be motivated, try to control the line of scrimmage, and with Kevin Brown, that was kind of what they need to do to protect their quarterback. I think on the other side, Matthew Schultz has got to get a couple big shots down the field to Tim White. You know what his skill set is, and they got to use him.
You guys are talking about players. That's all important. But I guarantee you, most of these players, if not all of them, are thinking, we can't be the team that these Elks end their streak to. We need to go out here and do everything in our power to make sure this streak continues. This is not going to happen on our time. Yes, we know they're hungry. Yes, we're hungry too. We got a victory last week, but we need to keep this going. We can't allow this team to end this streak and we be part of history on the wrong side. So it's going to be a hard-fought game. These Elks, we know how hungry they are, but these Hamilton Tiger Cats, most importantly, Matthew Schultz, need to come out and get going early if they want an opportunity to win this game.
So oftentimes people are always saying, we hear them saying, we don't trust the process. If we can be better, do this, do that, concentrate on ourselves, we'll come out with a W. I don't see that's the case with these two teams. They better be worried about that other team because they're coming. In more ways than one.
Well, and trust the process to a certain point, too, right? Like, if you're a fan at this point, you're paying for tickets, you want to be there.
These guys are working hard.
Guys right here, you want a victory. The 100th meeting between the Elks and the Tiger Cats coming up on TSN.
It has been well noted that Chris Jones and his team not able to pick up a win at home. Loxley now takes it out.
No,
and
sir.
He's stopped rolling. Milligan is there. And the Riders defense shuts the door. And that'll seal up a Saskatchewan 17-13 road victory. Kai Loxley in a quarterback, and he fumbles. Daggy intercepted, and the final nail in the coffin from the Argos. Edmonton looking to avoid 20 consecutive losses at home.
It has been 1,370 long days since these Edmonton fans have seen their team win at home tonight. Will they finally snap the streak or tie a 70-year-old record? Edmonton and Hamilton kick off Week 6 in the CFL. Someone who would love to end the home losing streak is none other than this man, Taylor Cornelius, who has never won at Commonwealth Stadium, 0-13 all time at home. On the other hand, Matthew Schultz would like nothing more than to hand Cornelius and the Elks yet another loss as Hamilton looks to build upon their weekend win over the Ottawa Red Blacks. And the QB, by the way, making his first start against Edmonton. It is Thursday night. It is 7-11 football. I'm Kate Burness. This is David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. And here we go again.
Yes.
Will it finally end, Ches? A streak that has lasted, it seems like an eternity, but since October 2019, if they lose tonight, they are officially tied with the longest losing home winning streak in North American sports history.
Yeah. The Elks will win tonight.
Okay.
They'll end this streak tonight. The advantage, these two teams are fairly even, I think, especially that Bo is out on Hamilton's side. These teams are fairly even. I think the advantage and the reason I think the Elks get over the hump is I think Chris Jones gives, and that defensive staff, they gives Matthew Schultz some problems with some looks, and I think they find some juice from that home field advantage, and that's what gets them over the hump, and they end it tonight.
Well, Davis, I'm not drinking that juice.
Nope.
You know, but a streak will end tonight. Matthew Schultz, 0-5 against Western teams.
Oh.
He's going to get his first win against the Western team.
He's going to get it tonight.
I know, and this is 11th start. And the other funny side of that equation, Milt, is he's 5-0 against Eastern teams, 0-5 against Western teams. He gets his first win against Edmonton.
Well, I think the Elks will finally end the streak, and they better, because there's a lot of pressure on Chris Jones. The Elks board of directors, I'm sure, are looking at their situation saying, do we need to make some changes? And he needs to get this victory and continue winning, because if he loses this game and lose some more, we may see Chris on the panel, because you know that's where head coaches go when they get fired.
Too soon,
Is that a new segment? Who's going to be the next head coach on the panel?
Okay, we might have asked for a wheel of coaches, but I don't think TSN approved at this point. You know what? It's just been so long, and I was mentioning the streak, 70 years, the last team to do it with 20 straight losses. That was the St. Louis Browns. After that season, they moved the team to the Baltimore Orioles. It was ugly. Let's just say that. All right, don't go anywhere. Right after the break, we head to Commonwealth Stadium. Will it finally end? The Elks and the Tiger Cats. Coming up on TSN.
Elks on their way to Yellowknife if they lose.
It's an overcast evening in Edmonton to kick off Week 6 in the CFL. And for the Elks, much like the forecast tonight, a dark cloud hanging over the organization as they have lost 19 in a row at home and are still winless on the season. The Ticats, on the other hand, getting their first win of the season against Ottawa last week as one of their new faces continues to settle in.
Two big names on the marquee tonight, and they're both in the receiving corps. First of all, back in 2018, Duke Williams for the Edmonton Elks had almost 1,600 yards receiving, making an impact on his new team. That's the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And former Hamilton Tiger Cat Stephen Dunbar, former 1,000-yard receiver Stephen Dunbar, is contributing big time with Geno Lewis out of the lineup for the Elks.
For the Elks, we know about the losing streak. We know they're winless on the season. They've also lost 9 games in a row going back to last season as Edmonton. So a bunch of streaks that they tried to snap tonight. Orlando Steinauer 0-2 on the road this season, 2-7 on the road last season. So they would certainly like to get things going outside of Hamilton. Thank you very much for joining us to kick off another week. We are underway at Commonwealth in Edmonton, and there's another one of those short kicks taken cleanly. No bounces in Edmonton, trying to hop on it, and they've got it. How's that for a start for the Elks?
That's a big bounce right to Jordan Reeves, who just signed a couple of weeks ago playing on the teams. That's why you try the pooch kick in the opening kickoff. You're kicking it to someone who's not really prepared to handle the football. It's a receiver out there for the Ticats, but doesn't handle it. Bounces right to Reeves, and turnover right out of the gate for Edmonton.
That was Turnowski, Tyler Turnowski, who had a pretty clean look at it, but ended up not being able to haul it in. And now Edmonton will start this game on the Hamilton 39. Just one first quarter touchdown for this team this season. They will hand it off, and pushing it ahead is Shannon Brooks as we take a look at Taylor Cornelius.
Yeah, 4-20 is Cornelius' record. He's played against Hamilton once, lost that game. and has been very, very close. Best offensive performance of the season for this football team was against Saskatchewan last week. Really played and won a lot of the categories, played well enough to win in that game. We'll get more into how they lost as this one goes on, but they put out a pretty good effort in that Saskatchewan game.
Won the turnover battle, didn't allow a sack, led for most of the game. And a part of this Edmonton offense, Taylor Cornelius picks up the first down.
Well, Brett Boyko's going to start at right tackle. He's been in town for a couple of weeks now. You're probably familiar with the name. He has played in the CFL before. Looking for some help on that right side on the outside and tackle. And there's Stephen Dunbar, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, who Taylor Cornelius is really leaning into, because with Geno Lewis out, he has become their #1 target.
1st and 10 from the Hamilton 29 for Edmonton. Looking for some fireworks early. They'll hand it off again. This is Brown pushing right up the middle. So Brooks and Brown involved in the offense here in the early going.
A couple of early sacks to the season for the veteran on the D-line for Hamilton in Ted Laurent. 2 sacks. He's played in 134 starts. That's 6,700 small car crashes for a defensive tackle. Jameer Thurman leads their team in defensive tackles at 26. And with 3 knockdowns, he's tied for the league lead. And that's Richard Leonard in the secondary.
It's been all on the ground so far for Edmonton. 2nd and 5 now from the Hamilton 24. Cornelius looking for some room, trying to find that first down marker, and he's got it. It was Jameer Thurman in pursuit, but the big fella rumbles for a first down.
I mentioned the performance of the offense. Watch how quick this decision is made by Taylor Cornelius, and the performance of the offense against Saskatchewan was good enough to win. In fact, he ran 11 times for 58 yards. It's a season high for Cornelius, taking off and making the quick decision to run, just like he did there. 7-yarder and a first down.
Opens up the offense and the rest of the run game when they can get him moving, I would think. 3 options out to the right here for Cornelius. 1st and 10 from the Hamilton 17. Cornelius throwing this time, looking for Forbes Montbleau, but he was not able to hang on, and Lawrence Woods right on his back.
Yeah, pretty tight coverage, and that's why when you have that tight of coverage, you're looking at a throw that's low and away, so only your receiver has a chance at it. I don't blame Taylor Cornelius for trying to throw it right down in there low. You saw how close Woods was on that outside shoulder.
So 2nd and 10 now for Edmonton. Early stages of the ball game here at Commonwealth. Cornelius, far side of the field, and not able to get there in time. Maurice French slams his fists in frustration, but Edmonton will have to settle for a field goal attempt on their first drive, which started at the 39.
Well, the positive there for Edmonton on this first drive is they get the turnover, get first possession, even though they deferred on the coin toss, so they'll get the choice and take the ball first in the second half, and they're going to get a field goal attempt out of it. This range should be pretty routine. Get the first points of this game. Team that's struggling, that's important.
24-yard attempt. He was 0 for 2 last week, but Dean Faithful knocks a big one through early here at home against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Edmonton taking advantage of a turnover early. Welcome back to Edmonton. A smoky day, clearing up a little bit here tonight. Hamilton with their first possession of the ball game after a turnover on the opening kickoff. Here is Schultz. Gets it to his running back, Butler, who did a good job staying up after the initial contact and actually gets an extra 4 or 5 yards out of that on the completion from Matt Schultz.
Start number 11 for Matt Schultz. He's 5-5, has 5 wins against the East Division, his 5 losses against the West Division. He'd like to break that trend here tonight. 2 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. Early in his career, but an excellent effort against Ottawa in their first win last week.
6 yards to Butler to start this game, and now a direct snap, trying to push it ahead, awfully close to a first down, as a little trickery from the Ticats to get the ball into the hands of Tyreek McAllister.
Yeah, this is a little innovation here from Tommy Condell. Not new to football, but new to this year and new to the Ticat offense, as far as what I've seen, is a little wildcat where Matt Schultz just pretends to be looking and changing a play, and meanwhile it's direct snap right to his running back.
Did not end up working. They're a yard short of picking up a first down here, so they have trotted the punt team out. The Elks don't have anybody back, so Purifoy's going to scramble back, and he does return kicks.
Don't let him move it around. Steinauer not taking any chances early, kicking this with just a yard to go.
Purifoy hustling over and watching it fly directly out of bounds. Taylor Cornelius leading an offense that had to settle for 3 points on their first drive of the game, about to get the ball back in Edmonton. So some of you might be wondering, how does an organization lose 19 in a row, and who's involved in it? Well, here's how this 19-game home losing streak has looked from a football ops.
Yeah, one of the reasons for it, you would have to, conclude, is the number of names on the list. That there's that much turnover and change. It's
Cornelius to his right, guns it out to about the 40 and held on to by Dylan Mitchell, who's had a slow start to the season.
Yeah, sophomore jinx for Dylan Mitchell. I mean, he had such a great rookie year with 1,200 yards, and then, when you take a look at this season and just what people have expected, expectations are very difficult to live up to sometimes, and sometimes you can set the bar so high that it puts even more pressure on you. But if they can get him going, that'll really help their cause.
12 yards there to jumpstart him tonight. Now Cornelius hands it off. Brown kind of hesitated, seeing what was going to open up, and still got a few yards on that first down lunge into a pile of men in front of him. And he looks like he's banged up, in pain now, trying to bounce back up.
Yeah, he's going to have to come off anyway. Well, he looks like he's trying to shake it off now. He's waving it off, but they're gonna bring him out anyway.
Well, good sign that he was up and waving him off. Quick chat on the sidelines, and they'll bring back in Shannon Brooks, who's averaging 3.8 yards per carry on the season. Had a big one in the air last week. 2nd and 7 for Cornelius from his own 42. 3 to the left, 2 to the right. Cornelius with time, looking down the field. Incomplete, was looking for Mitchell again, working against Kenneth George Jr. And some solid defense from the Ticats.
Yeah, it really was. And that's the rookie in their back end, in their secondary. And when you see how close Kenneth George is. I mean, watch this press coverage. Get that hand out, just get a little feel for where your receiver is. Stick with him when he tries to put the brakes on. Turn and play the football. That is textbook DB play right there from the rookie. Julian
stands on his own 30, ready to boot this away. Deep kick all the way back to the 11-yard line, and push back out just shy of the 30. Special guest in the house tonight. There he is. You recognize him as the legend, Ricky Ray. Flip the coin tonight. Joins Rashad when we return. Well, when it comes to a Hall of Famer, the numbers usually speak for themselves, and that is a heck of a list of numbers. Ricky Ray is here with our Ryan Rashad.
Yeah, 4 Grey Cups as a starter, 2 here in Edmonton, 2 with Toronto. Ricky, when you come back, you're back in the green and gold here. How does it feel, and what's the reception like from Eskimo Nation, or Elk Nation?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, every time I come back, I mean, the fans are so passionate about football, and they treated me really well here. I mean, it was a privilege to to play here 9 seasons, and you know, just thankful for everything they gave me.
So organizations have ups and downs. This organization is no different, and they're in the middle of it right now. From a distance looking in, what have you seen? What do you think about the way the team and the market is trying to handle this scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen everything throughout my career. You know, good teams, bad teams, slow starts, fast starts. I mean, you've been through it all, and yeah, you just gotta you know, weather the storm and keep the belief going and support everybody, and things will get turned around.
I imagine galvanizing that locker room is critical too. You just have to come together as a group and push through. You know about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge every year with every team, is being able to come together and you know, work towards one goal. And you know, once you get the momentum going, it's hard to stop. So all it takes is that first win.
Well, that was a great ovation for you from the fans. Thanks for taking some time to join us again.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Rusty.
Thanks, Ryan. One of those unique individuals who basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers. Now a deep shot. Just missed the intended target. It was Tim White, who's been known to stretch a field, but he can't hang on to that pass from Schultz.
Well, one of the guys that had maybe the best accuracy on the deep ball of all time was Ricky Ray, and especially when it came to the corner route. This is Schultz just missing Tim White on this one, but man, the numbers, when I see Ricky Ray and you think of the championships in 03, 05, 2012, that was the 100th Grey Cup. He's the starting quarterback in Toronto, 2017. Just an incredible career. For one of the few quarterbacks, Dusty, that right out of the gate when he got his opportunity, made it happen on the field. It usually takes 2 or 3 years for guys to figure it out. We're seeing that with Cornelius. We see it with young quarterbacks. Matt Schultz as well. Takes him some time. Ricky Ray took over for Jason Moss in 02, and in his first start, threw 5 touchdowns.
And then I like the saying, I'll take it from here, the rest is history.
Yeah, well, just, you know, you think of the flashbacks, and I love when we show him in action. Of course, we show 2 teardrops right on the corner route for touchdowns and for big plays, because he could throw it better than anybody in the business. But the leader in yardage passing on 2 franchise.
Cornelius pitches this out to Brown, who's back in the game. Good news for Edmonton. Breaks 1 tackle. Second man will get him, and that's Carney, who ends up finishing the job.
Well, just great to see him back. You know, like he got hurt on that last series. Looked like the training staff may have to come out and get him, but he walked that off, and he looked good on that burst on the outside there. Good gain on first down for Kevin Brown, who had his best game last week against Saskatchewan. Best game of the year, I should say.
And like Dylan Mitchell, Kevin Brown was sensational in the second half of last season, so big hopes for him. And they also like Shannon Brooks, who got that first touch tonight. 2nd and 2. And it'll be Cornelius, who has taken over the short yardage duties after Kai Loxley was released. And it looks like Cornelius is going to be close to that. Of course, Loxley end up signing with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and he's not been there a whole long time, but boy, just for TV purposes, wouldn't it be cool if Tommy Condell figured out a way to get him involved here against his old team, and the way that went down, and how he got pulled after 1 play and he separated himself from Chris Jones and the rest of the team, and the day later he was released by the team, ends up in Hamilton, and it's just, he hasn't been there very long. That's the problem.
3rd and inches, Cornelius this time pushing through, and that will be an Edmonton first down with just over 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter of play. Your thoughts on Cornelius handling those duties now, not coming out of the game, like staying in there, being involved the entire time? He's a big body, long body.
Yeah, you know, in general, I always think it should be a second guy or your 3rd team quarterback.
Yeah.
Because it just takes a couple of hits away from your starter. However, with a team struggling the way Edmonton has struggled, he wants to take the reins. I think it's a sign of leadership to say, hey, just leave me in here. I'll get the first downs. We'll keep these drives going. I'm going to lead my team by example, and I like that.
Well, he got that one, so it's 1st and 10 right at midfield here. Smack dab in the middle. Hands it off to Brown. Another push of about 3 or 4 yards before he is brought down. But a couple of plays since he got back into the ball game, and little grimace as he bounces back up here.
Yeah, playing through something clearly after that hit a series ago, but looks like he still has that burst. He's not limping. That's the good news.
3 yards for Brown on that touch. 2nd and 7 now for Cornelius. Still looking to complete his first pass of this ball game. Some pressure from the Ticats. Now Cornelius trying to escape. Flags fly as Cornelius tries to lunge ahead for a first down. He's marked in a spot where it would be a first down, but flags as he tried to escape from the pocket, and that would be a hold against Edmonton, I would think.
Holding Edmonton number 68. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay 2nd down.
If you're at all just a true fan of the game, that was a holding on Foucault. But if you're just a fan of the game, and I know Taylor Cornelius is, every quarterback that gets to this level is, with Ricky Ray in the house, he wants to get that first win tonight. I mean, for a lot of reasons. But having Ricky Ray around maybe just sparks a little bit. He'll have heard all the stories about the great Ricky Ray.
Cornelius, 4 wins in his career, all 4 of them away from home. 3 to the right, 3 to the left. Trying to set up a little bit of a screen here. Will anything open? Some nice work to have some hope on the play, but Ticats defense holds strong, and Maurice French simply couldn't find any space.
Yeah, hold strong, and right now the field is slanted. So basically after that opening kickoff by Edmonton, they recover it, go in and get 3, but they've been playing in Hamilton's end for this entire first quarter so far. So you almost a return or, a big play. They almost hit Tim White to flop the field.
We'd like to welcome everybody joining us on TSN 5. Thanks for popping in after watching some NBA Summer League hoops. That just kicked away in time. Julian got it away just before it was blocked. Bounces back and rolls out at about the Ticats 17, a 37-yard kick. Schiltz will try to jump start the Ticats offense when we return. CJ Sims has been excellent in returning for Edmonton so far, but a welcome to the CFL moment last week as he allowed this ball to be conceded in the end zone for a single. More on the reaction to that with Ryan Rashad.
Yeah, Justin, I think as we watched that take place and Chris Jones talking to Sims on the sidelines after, one of the things you noticed was, it was a talking to, but then there was a pat on the helmet. And that was reflective of the way the head coach handled the situation for the rest of the week. We knew there was going to be a lot of questions about that mistake, and Chris Jones made it very clear. That is on the coaches. He told us, if you're looking for a headline, write that. Really went a long way to try and deflect the criticism. Does not want that to be a mistake that can define a player. No question, it's a big one. But they really went a long way to try and deflect it. And Jones saying in the media multiple times, that's on the staff.
Well, and he said multiple times to us, refers to his team as kids. A lot of younger guys, a lot of inexperienced guys in this league on this team. And he said, we got to do a better job coaching these kids up. And I mean, can't disagree with him.
Hey, it happened in the Ottawa game a couple days later. So let's take a look at this. 2 young teams playing tonight. One of the reasons that they're slow out of the gate. The veteran in David Beard was a former Edmonton Elk for 7 years. There's Duke Williams, who leads their team in the receiving corps and is 5th ranked going into the week in the Canadian Football League. But yeah, both these teams are young, and they're going to make mistakes. And I've seen that mistake every year from veteran returners too. So I felt for Sims, but the difference was the magnitude, because there was a minute left. It was a tie game. They were going to overtime, and the moment became that big moment where the eyes get big and you just lose your train of thought for a second, and it cost them a football game. But I know that he'll bounce back, and he has been a bright light, man. I mean, honestly, this guy against Toronto had runs of 72, 52, 42. I mean, he can get it done. So, you know, a couple of the longest runs in the league this year. So you don't want to have one mistake define your career, and it won't for C.J. Sims.
Third 2 and out of the game for the Ticats. A high kick. Purifoy rushes over, takes it at the 36-yard line. 49-yard kick with a flag in the center of the field as we get set to wrap up the first quarter. I've had it in my notes since I started doing this job to put the wrap on C.J. Sims. The last return touchdown for Edmonton 8 years ago. So the fan base,
he'll get it.
Desperate for a win, desperate for a return of some sort as well, and maybe C.J. Sims ends up being that guy. First quarter in the books at Commonwealth. It is the Elks leading Hamilton 3-0 through 15 minutes. Welcome back to Commonwealth, everyone. Edmonton leading 3-0, a low-scoring affair, or, as we like to call it, an excellent defensive contest so far between these two clubs.
Well, yeah, I think if you're an Edmonton fan, you like that you have the lead after the first quarter. You like that your run game has looked pretty good. You've seen Cornelius make a couple nice throws, and you got the lead. That's the good news for Edmonton fans. For Hamilton now, they've been playing in the wrong end of the field, and they need to flip it somehow. So the way you do that is a pick, and then get a big return off it, a block kick possibly, or maybe you get Tyreek McAllister going and you throw him a bubble screen or something like that, and let a potential huge star in this league, because he can fly. Maybe you get him going with the football a little bit.
I think the saying with kids is you let them cook, right? Let McAllister cook a little bit. First and 10 here for Edmonton. They'll work from their own 26. Cornelius has a completion. That is Brooks is running back, finding some space on the far side of the field. And the first pass completed of the game for Taylor Cornelius goes for 24 yards.
Yeah, Brooks and Brown both in the backfield here, and Brooks is going to exit this way out of the backfield to get out into the open, and it's the quick decision, little play fake in the middle to hold the linebackers, and look at the space that Brooks have outside. I like this two-back set for Edmonton.
Brooks out of the University of Minnesota in his first year in the Canadian Football League. First and 10 out from the Edmonton 49. They go back to him again, and he's able to maneuver his way ahead for 4 more yards.
Kevin Brown and Shannon Brooks, if you have them both in the backfield at the same time like we did on that first throw, you're now your linebackers, Chris Edwards, Simone Lawrence, Jameer Thurman, they're going to stay in the box longer. So now the zones outside become bigger. The windows become bigger for your receiving corps.
Brown watching on here. It's Brooks standing in to the left of 15 in green. 2nd and 6. Cornelius. And that pass well ahead of Dylan Mitchell. Looks to stretch it out a little bit here, as 3rd down now is what Edmonton faces.
Yeah, and you see the difference. Now there's only one back in the backfield, so Simone Lawrence is not quite as occupied as he would be if there were 2. And now look how deep he is, and now he makes it a little more difficult and takes away a zone underneath for Taylor Cornelius in the passing game.
3rd straight punt after a game-opening field goal for Edmonton. This one goes for 47 yards and will be brought back by McAllister for about 14 yards. McAllister bursting onto the scene with a big touchdown last week. More on him when we return to Edmonton. Well, week to week, somebody else gets an opportunity, and this last week, in week 5 versus Ottawa, it was McAllister, and Glenn, he made the most of it, didn't he?
What a great run. Just 64-yarder off a bubble screen, got some key blocks up front on that from his fellow receivers, but showed his tremendous speed. And When we see that as football fans in this country, you go, okay, we found another one. Hamilton found one.
There's a completion to Godwin, his first catch of the ball game on the feed from Schultz, and that is Hamilton's first down of tonight's game.
Well, they could certainly, maybe use McAllister in there, but if they can run the offense and get Goodwin and Tim White, we haven't heard from Duke Williams just yet in this game. I'm sure we will before it's over, but need to flop the field.
Oh, busting right through the line. Coney Ely, untouched, takes down Schultz. First sack of the game for the home side.
Boy, this is straight down Main Street for Coney Ely. He just goes where the guards pull. Looked like they were trying to get a little fly sweep action going there to the left side of the formation. Two offensive linemen pulled that way, and Coney Ely had the free pass.
Instead, it's a significant loss. Second and long now for Schultz. Near side of the field, Godwin comes back to get it and is taken down. That momentum carries him forward. Awfully close to a Ticats first down. Second straight catch for Godwin.
Yeah, interesting stat by Steve Daniel in the league office. Does such a great job with our game notes every week. And he said that in the over 90 possessions where a sack occurred, there has only been one touchdown scored. It's a touchdown killer. And that first down catch by Goodwin may fly against that trend in this drive. We'll see if they can keep it going.
He needed 16. Godwin got 17. And a first down for Hamilton. Some pressure from Edmonton. Schultz in trouble again, and they'll take him down. Edmonton's defense getting home. Niles Morgan this time.
Delayed for him on this late rush. He's going to delay just long enough so he's not counted in the protection. Then he sneaks around and gets there. I'm not sure in this stats with over 90 possessions with the sack if we've gone as far as going, what if there's 2 sacks in the possession? How many touchdowns after that? My guess is 0.
First sack of the season for Morgan. He's having a nice year in the middle of that Edmonton defense. Second and 16 again for Schultz. Can he find 17 more over the middle? He does. Right down to the Edmonton 50, just shy. And that is Keandre Smith, and that'll be enough for a first down. Wow, a couple of clutch catches on this drive for the Ticats.
That one for sure. Yeah, Keandre Smith had to go back. He was on the crossing route here, and he's going over the middle, and he has to reach back to get it. That's a tough one, because first of all, that's the danger area. You know you're going to get hit, or you expect to get hit in there. There's a lot of folks in there, but had to go back and pull it in.
17 yards to keep this drive alive. Now Schultz takes it himself, and a nice chunk on first down as they get their quarterback moving.
So this drive continues after 2 sacks by Edmonton, breaking a ton of trends so far this year, and then a nice call by Tommy Condell to go with quarterback draw. That was a call play where Schultz puts his foot in the ground like he's going to pass and then takes off on a quarterback draw for good yardage on first down.
Now they just need 4 more. Second and 4 here for Schultz. Flag here as he hands it off. And eventually busting through the pile just down inside the Edmonton 40 is James Butler.
Offside, Hamilton, number 17. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
So what about sacks and penalties on a drive that leads to a touchdown?
Yeah, no.
I'm sure Steve's got those numbers somewhere.
They're probably somewhere. But,
yeah.
But Goodwin there, he lined up offside, I believe. He didn't. That wasn't a motion issue or a waggle issue. He just lined up. He was about a yard offside there.
So second and 9, needing a pretty good chunk here is Schultz. Right over the middle again, and this time it falls incomplete. And Danny working against Darius Bratton, and Bratton got an arm in there.
Yeah, I've highlighted Bratton and the 2 halfbacks, basically Dwayne Thompson and Bratton in the starting lineup, simply because they're going to have pressure on them. They're going to have some big-time receivers in Duke Williams, Tim White, and those crossing routes. a big play.
This is kicked away. Sims slides under it just inside his own 15. And brings it back after a 35-yard kick, a short return for Sims.
Hamilton got the field position back, though.
First time. Cornelius, worst starting field position of the football game for Edmonton, who still maintain a 3-0 lead midway through the second quarter. Thank you very much for joining us for some Thursday night football action. Cornelius fakes the handoff, and that one in and out of the hands of the intended target, Kyron Moore, who doesn't have a catch yet in this ball game.
No, but he's been looked at a bunch more. He's been targeted in the last 3 games 18 times, and that's again with Geno Lewis out of the lineup. Who's going to be the playmakers? We've talked about Dunbar, Stephen Dunbar, really leading into him, and he's become the leading receiver, but Kyron Moore can really help their cause.
Moore led the Riders in receptions in 2019 and 2021 here in his first year in Edmonton. Cornelius over the middle this time. That's a completion outside the 40 to Dunbar against his former Ticat teammates.
Jameer Thurman showed blitz and then dropped out of there on this one. There's Jameer Thurman here. He shows blitz and then he drops out, but he doesn't drop out deep enough. We've seen sometimes where a linebacker can get in the throwing lane, but Jameer Thurman kind of stopped his drop about 5 yards short, and it allowed Cornelius to find Dunbar right in behind him.
A 21-yard pickup to Dunbar for his first catch of the game. 1st and 10. Edmonton works from their own 41. This time they'll hand it off. Short pickup for Brown as he's wrapped up by Kongbo.
You know, this team that hasn't won yet, the Edmonton Elks, have enough talent to win. I'll take you back to last year, Dane Evans with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How about this? This is Stephen Dunbar, maybe one of the best, or arguably the best catch all season long. This is the type of talent that this Edmonton Elks team has in their lineup. You just got to put it all together to stop the skid.
I'd ballpark, I probably saw that
I know.
200 times last season.
It gets you jumping out of your seat, doesn't it?
It does. 2nd and 9 for Cornelius. Flips it ahead to Moore. Moore looking for the 51 for a first down. He's got it before he's hammered down on the far side of the field.
It looked like Kyron Moore was coming over here to look for a block. He was trying to help in sort of the blocking scheme, and then when it sort of broke down, quick decision by Cornelius rather than run himself. He's got a fast receiver out there, a little underhand flip to him, and away he goes.
So Edmonton able to move the ball through the air a little bit on this drive, and they've flipped it back onto the Hamilton side of the field. They'll fake the handoff to Brown, and a completion into the hands of Maurice French. And Cornelius getting a number of his weapons involved here in the second quarter.
Well, not only that, but they're moving his launch point. So you're going to see Cornelius, look at this, a little RPO. He rides a dive there for a second on Brown and then gets outside. He's got 3 targets, or he can run. So opening up lots of options for the young quarterback to make decisions on the fly. And I think he's getting more and more comfortable every game with throwing on the run.
Cornelius has completed passes to 5 different receivers so far in this game. 1st and 10 from the Hamilton 43 now, as Edmonton marching for the moment offensively. Cornelius now. Another completion just outside the 30. This one to Dylan Mitchell. So 4 different players on this drive with big pickups for Cornelius.
On the run again, moving the launch point again. And this shows Taylor Cornelius' arm strength. Heard Matt Dunnigan in the pregame show talk about that he still believes in 15. He still thinks he's got all the tools to make it happen, to start winning games. And that showed you a little example. Even with a little flutter on the ball, he just zipped it right in there.
Now down to the Hamilton 26. 4 options, wide side left of the field for Cornelius. Mitchell by himself down at the bottom of your screen. Cornelius under pressure, spins away, looks towards the end zone, incomplete. Hit French in the chest, but he'd gone down low and couldn't hang on.
You got to have that. You know, that's Taylor Cornelius doing everything he could to keep the play alive, and strong lower body to break this tackle right here, spin out of it. Again, great accurate throw on the run going to his left. There's no reason. You got to catch that one. You got to catch that one.
Certainly one that French would want back, and now it leaves this drive that's been moving along nicely in a 2nd and 10 situation. French in the slot to the right of Cornelius. Pressure coming. Cornelius in trouble, and he'll be taken down just outside the Edmonton 35. The Ticats defense had seen enough. Ted Laurent getting home.
It's all about counting for protection. It's about how many are they sending and how many do we have to block. They were basically, the Elks basically were able to block everyone that was coming from Hamilton. They had the numbers with Kevin Brown staying in there. Simone Lawrence took up that block, but just a straight bull rush. That's the 3rd sack of the year for Big Ted Laurent. I mentioned his 134 starts. For a defensive tackle, they say every play is like a little car crash. And if you average 50 plays a game and you have 134 starts, you've been in 6,700 car crashes.
And he's still going.
And he's still bull rushing, yeah, and knocking old linemen into their own quarterback.
Been with Hamilton for almost a decade now.
But here's what Edmonton did. They drove the ball, got the field position back, and now have a chance to put some more points on the board.
We'll try to tack on some points. Faithful from 24 earlier made it, as I mentioned. Missed both last week. 4 for 6 on the season. This one straight away from 40 yards to double the Edmonton lead. Early movement from the Ticats, I believe, as that is hammered through. More than enough leg for Faithful, but to sort this flag out.
Offside. Hamilton, number 5. The penalties decline. The field goal is good.
Chris Jones takes the 3 points. Edmonton on top, 6-0. Could have been more, but the Ticats D was there. Well, there's Duke Williams, who started his career here in Edmonton, now with the Ticats, and more on the process of how he became a Ticat. Let's send it down to Ryan Rashad.
It was by design, Dusty. They wanted to add a little spice to the locker room, right? Some personality and pop, but there was a history there, and Orlando Steinauer took that very seriously. Wasn't just a phone call. He needed a FaceTime. Wanted to look the player in the eyes, really get a sense for where his head was at, where his attitude was at. Steinauer made it clear. They've got a framework of discipline, but within that framework, players have the latitude to be themselves and to bring personality, but he definitely wanted to feel that face-to-face meeting to make that big decision.
Here's a deep shot down the field to Duke Williams, and he was not able to haul it in double coverage. Doesn't have a catch yet in this game, but perfect timing for this play.
Yeah, great throw, and really down the seam on a post route. Little outside fake and then right down the middle, and had a chance at it. I mean, I don't think you can throw it better. We've seen Duke come up with that many, many times, and in fact much tougher catches than that one. Hit him right in the hands. Yeah, there was guys around him, but you know, when you're Duke size at 6'3", 225 can run like that, you're not worried about the guys around you.
He's made a living hauling in big ones like that. Here's Schultz. Other side, down the field for White. Got it! Down to the 20! Taken down just outside the 15. A flag back by the quarterback, but a big shot from Schultz to White, and he's able to haul it in.
The way Matt Schultz is walking towards White, look like this might be a late hit on the Elks.
Ticats offense has been stalled pretty much the entire football game, but Matt Schultz trying to change that. Tim White, who came into the game with 265 yards receiving on the season, sneaks in behind the Edmonton defense and Schultz finds him for a deep shot as he takes a shot at the same time. Trying to walk it off is Matt Schultz. Let's see where the pop came from. Had the time to get that ball away. Ooh, double crunch there for him. And White able to haul it in. Ticats in business.
What is the first rule when it comes to sports streaks?
Don't talk about the streak.
What are we doing at halftime?
Talking about the streak.
Excellent.
No shortage of streak talk. More at halftime. Schultz, first and goal from the Edmonton 8. He'll hand it off. Butler down to the 5, spinning away, staying on its feet to the end zone. Touchdown, Butler! What an effort, and the Ticats are on the board.
That's exactly what it was. A tremendous effort, an individual effort by James Butler, who's caught in the backfield. I mean, the Elks, they load the line of scrimmage to stop the run. And look at him. He's bottled up right there, but he spins out of that, breaks this tackle. Purifoy kind of gets dragged in the last 2 yards before James Butler. This is what we saw with him in BC. And that's why when you look at the stats going into this week, you go, what? How is James Butler so far down the list? This seems weird. We saw a lot of that last year.
Hamilton for the lead for the first time tonight. And Leggio pumps it through. Ticats go on top, 7-6.
Let's take a look at that long play to Tim White. White's going to just go down the field and influence the deep defender right here. That inside receiver is the guy who's going to influence the deep defender. So go ahead and run it. You see White going straight down the field. Now stop it there. This is where there's the influence, and that just takes the attention of that deep defender away from Tim White. And Matt Schultz at the other end is hanging in there and taking a pounding to wait for him to get in behind that coverage. But watch the hit from the bottom of the line. It's Noah Curtis, number 92. This is just roughing the passer. It's not a malicious hit by any stretch. They're just going after it, and he almost kind of pulled up, but he did get high hit. And that added half the distance to the goal line, and then second effort here, third effort here. One of the great backs in the league in James Butler.
Third touchdown of the season for Butler, caps off a 3-play, 70-yard drive that took just 61 seconds. And now the return up the near side from Gavin Cobb, former Manitoba Bison, and he gives Edmonton okayish field position with 2:34 on the clock.
Well, I think it's pretty good. You know, it really is pretty good. And with 2:34 to go, this is where games are won. This is where struggling teams put together a drive and either put a major on the board and completely answer and take away any momentum Hamilton had with that long play, or at least get into field goal range. This is a key moment in this game for a struggling team.
2.5 to work for Cornelius. They'll hand it off to his running back. Line of scrimmage, probably not any further. Davis and Carney merging together to slow down Kevin Brown.
The problem Edmonton has is Hamilton knows that too.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
So on defense, they know the importance of this next 2:27 and counting, because there's plenty of time for field goal range. So Mark Washington, the DC, is looking out there saying, hey, don't give him anything. Don't take your foot off the pedal now after we put 7 on the board and grab some momentum.
Well, and if you get a stop here, you're going to have a lot of time getting the ball back. Cornelius, 2nd and 10 from his own 35. Over the middle to Dunbar. Looked like he was held. No flags on the play. And the one hand that he had available, he could not haul that one in.
Oh, well, Chris Jones want to challenge this. He had the deep in route, and he's working on Richard Leonard, the veteran. Inside route, don't see anything yet. does kind of lock that arm. I don't know if Chris Jones will challenge or not. I think he will.
He has. Challenge flag is on the field. And it's Dunbar's right arm as he tried to come up, basically held down by Leonard.
Yeah, on the break, it looked fine. There was a little bit of contact. I don't think you call that at all, but there was the arm bar. Now, we saw it in slow motion, so...
Edmonton is challenging the ruling on the last play. They believe pass interference should have been called. The play will be reviewed.
Can't redirect or impede the receiver on his route after 5 yards. And here's a slow look at it. If Dunbar... That was a tough one because it was from the backside.
Here we go.
There's Dunbar here. So that's fine. That you don't call. But let's see here, because if he holds that arm down and Dunbar really cannot reach with both hands, then that would fall under the pass interference category for sure. Well, you know what? Based on the last couple games,
I was gonna say,
I'm not going to say anything's for sure. We'll see what they rule. But that looked like enough, even in slow motion.
Yeah, that right arm never had a chance to come up and get to that ball. So it looks pretty clear-cut to us. But what do we know? We're up in the booth. Let's send it down to the field for the official ruling.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field is overturned. There is indeed pass interference. Hamilton number 23. It's going to be first down for Edmonton at the 50-yard line.
Well, you know, and I like the process here, what we just saw, because the guys on the field, again, we'll show you again in real speed. Dunbar can't get his hand up. It's pass interference. But listen, I like that the official on the field looked and said, you know, I'm going to let them decide the outcome. And in review, with the video replay, they saw enough to overturn it, and it was clear and obvious.
First and 10 from the Edmonton 50. A big burst. Right up the middle for Kevin Brown. Brown down to the 30. Looking inside the 20. Almost stayed on his feet. Ball bumps loose. And they take it down into the end zone, but it's blown dead at the 10. Mitchell kind of scooped it up and took it into the end zone for a touchdown, but the whistle and the ball is being marked at the 10. Is some madness here late at Commonwealth, courtesy Kevin Brown.
Put Brett Boyko in here, and they put Brett Boyko in for a reason. He's going to get the block down here, and watch the cut and bounce from Kevin Brown on this big run. Boyko at that right tackle. He drives his guy right into the mesh, and then away goes Brown. Nice jump cut, 50-yarder, and I think he's down by contact. He got hit, and as soon as he goes down, he's down by contact.
No controversy there. Now Cornelius goes back to Brown, and he is smothered immediately for a loss. The Ticats giving him no breathing room on first down.
Well, you think back to Maurice French and that drop down by the goal line. They settled for 3. Could have had a 10-point lead there, didn't. This is another chance to put a major on the board. They're at about just shy of 60% in the red zone coming into this game. Opportunities.
So second and goal from the Hamilton 13. Pressure from the Ticats. Cornelius gets it away. Intercepted off the hands of Dunbar into the hands of Javian Elliott. And a turnover in the red zone as troubled times continue for the Edmonton Elks.
Well, pressure busts pipes. You know, it does. And this is blitz coming here. And it's coming off the edge from Chris Edwards. And it really just rushes him. Simone Lawrence on the opposite side as well. It rushes Taylor Cornelius, the ball a little bit behind Dunbar. And, man, anytime a receiver tips it up, it's danger time. It can be picked off. That ball bounces around, and Javian Elliott gets his first of the season.
Good job by Elliott to stay focused on that one. Dunbar can't believe it. There's an injured Ticat on the field just outside the 20. So out of the hands of one number 7 and into the hands of the other as Chris Jones stares on in disbelief.
There's been a few disbelief moments for this team this year.
So it's behind him, but he had his hands on it.
Yeah, I mean, they'll share the responsibility.
Yeah, okay.
The point being that that, you know, in the last series, Maurice French has a catch that he should make on the 1 yard line, and it hits his shoulder pads and drops out. That one, you know, let share the responsibility. Cornelius threw it a bit behind him, but that's a play that Stephen Dunbar can make and didn't.
And yeah,
tips it up, and Elliott says thank you very much, and a chance for points and the lead and to take some momentum disappears. Struggling teams seem to find a way to do this, and they've got to break out of it. I'm not sure how you get it done, but you got to break out of it.
It's been happening for half a decade almost for this team at home. 1st and 10 on the Hamilton 9. They'll hand it off in a huge hole right up the middle for Butler. Butler out to the 30, stays on his feet. James Butler with a response to Kevin Brown earlier, and he'll take it all the way outside the 46. What a burst from James Butler.
Well, just 2 big running plays, one for each team. Butler now, he looks like he's in a groove after that touchdown that he scored where he broke a bunch of tackles. Look at that. That's good blocking to the left side of the old line. Away he goes, untouched through the line of scrimmage, a 37-yarder. And now Matt Schultz has a chance for points before the half.
What a turn of events here late in Edmonton. Schultz with less than a minute to go, though. Handed off again. It's Butler again. How much juice does he got left? He'll push ahead for another 2 or 3 yards on 1st down.
I think that was probably called an option play to Matt Schultz that you know, the design of the play is, yes, the first stage is possibly a fake or a give to James Butler, but in this scenario, I bet you Tommy Condell wanted Matt Schultz to pull it, get outside, and maybe try to throw it on the run. Just you got to worry about the clock here.
Ticks down to half a minute. 3 options out to the wide side right here for Schultz. Looks to his left, throws to his left, has a completion, and that will be very close, possibly just shy of a 1st down to Grand Gauthier.
And Gauthier, he's got to get out of bounds here, number one. Again, you want to manage this because you got time to score. You had 50-something seconds when you got the ball after the James Butler run, and now it's down to 23.
And you're in a 3rd and inches situation. Schultz stays in, pushing ahead. Only needed the 54, but there's a flag on the far side of the field as the official runs into the pack.
90% of the time, this is offside defense. But you never know. We'll see what they call.
Looks like they were discussing in their offside defense. Edmonton's pointing them the other way, but Orlando Steinauer trying to get a read at exactly what's going on. A little bit of a longer conversation than just something as simple as offside defense.
So Schultz got the 1st down.
He did.
So they'll have a new set. If they look like they might be taking this one off the board here.
There are 2 penalties on the last play.
Okay.
The defensive line lined up offside. We also have a spear by Edmonton, number 45. We'll go up 20 yards from the previous line of scrimmage. It's going to be 1st down for Hamilton.
Well, that's field goal range automatically.
A spear called against Niles Morgan.
Wow.
On a 3rd and inches, everybody at the line situation.
Well, I don't know about that call.
Wow.
I mean, how many times have we seen a linebacker come over the pack?
Here's Butler trying to be set free again, pushing ahead, spinning down, and another excellent second effort from Butler takes them down to just outside the 20, a 14-yarder, but that last penalty seems...
Well, I don't know how you know, I mean, yes, it happened to their contact with their helmets, but that's a short yardage play. Everybody dives over the line of scrimmage. You have really no control once you leave your feet. I mean, I'm sure the command center is saying, well, that you have to have control and not hit the guy with the top of your helmet. He did duck his chin, kind of led with the top and the crown. Maybe that's where
sets up a last-second field goal here for Leggio. He's perfect since joining the Ticats. Just inside the left hash, and he sneaks it home. And the Ticats go on top on the final play of the first half. The Ticats on top 10-6. An interesting half of football between these two clubs, Glenn.
Yeah, well, first quarter, the Edmonton Elks had all the field position advantage, a 3-point lead, and then had 2 opportunities in the second quarter to go up more than 14. I mean, they could have gone up to 17 and missed their opportunities.
Ryan Rashog is with Tim White of the Ticats.
All right, Tim, seemed like the offense had to be a little bit patient there in that first half, but when you started breaking through, it seemed to come for you.
Yeah, definitely. The run game started to pick up, and looks like we're just running the ball hard, and we're competing hard.
2 big shots downfield. You connect 54 yards on the second one as receivers. You must love it when the staff calls back-to-back plays like that.
Yeah, you got to love it. You know, we love to get in the game, and I think we want more of that, and we're just out here having fun, enjoying the game, and we look forward to coming out here with more explosive plays.
Good luck in the second half. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, to Kate, the panel.
And that panel would be David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel. And we've got ourselves a 10-6 football game. Now, before the half here, Milt Stiegel was building all these highlights of that glorious run by the Edmonton Elks, their response to the touchdown. And then, don't you just hate this, Milt, when it all falls apart?
Yes. There are a lot of individuals, not a lot, but some people who tend to believe that you learn more from losing than winning. If that's the case, these Elks are geniuses, the smartest people on earth, because they continue to put themselves in positions to find ways to lose games. They had an opportunity for the first time all season long to be up at halftime, and this happens right here. And don't get me wrong, I know Cornelius wasn't trying to make this bad throw, and they weren't trying to drop the ball, but now once again you put yourselves in bad position, then you come out on defense and you have some penalties, and what happens? Hamilton kicks a field goal and they're up 10-6. So these Elks once again are putting themselves in this position. They still have an opportunity in the second half, but they're not good enough to make mistakes like that and think they're going to win the game. They almost have to play perfect, which is impossible, but they have to play as close as perfect as they can if they want to have a chance to win this game.
The Elks have talent, right? I think we agree that they do have talent.
Just hadn't come together.
They don't have an identity on offense. And look, if you think about the preseason, what were we saying when we entered the season? When we looked at the Edmonton Elks, we said, look at that receiving core. Look at the talent.
Yes.
Gino.
Yes.
Dylan. Dunbar.
Yes.
They have talent. Matt, you talk about Taylor Cornelius. He's got our own talent. He can run. He's athletic. But to me, when I watch this team, there's nothing. They're just grasping at straws with their play calling. They don't know where they're going. On second down, you know teams have guys they go to, situations they go, isolate certain guys. They don't have that. They don't have anything in this offense that I've seen that tells me on second down, okay, here's who we're going to go to, and here's how we're going to get them the ball. And they have some talented guys. I just don't think they know what to do with them at this point, or it's the rapport with Taylor and the receivers.
No rhythm at all.
Hey, Davis, one of the rules of thumb is don't compound mistakes. And after a bad play, don't repeat it. And it seems like that's what the Elks are doing on a regular basis. But I tell you what, if you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the road, the way that this game started out, you're gifting the Elks momentum. You drop the opening pooch kickoff, give them great field position on 39. You had 3 2-and-outs. If it wasn't that for that great run by Butler, now they're trying to trick them on their first, second, and short situation. I'm thinking Tommy Condell's got to have something coming off on that. You got a wide open receiver in the flat. You try to stick it in tight coverage. And then you got Tim White, one of the fastest dudes in the CFL, doesn't get touched, and you overthrow on a deep ball. These are plays that you have to make to get that team out of sync early, that a team like the Elks are trying to find their rhythm. And Hamilton did everything there in the first quarter wrong and everything right for Edmonton, but Edmonton couldn't capitalize. And to me, guys, the running game of the Hamilton Ticats and the way that James Butler has dominated, and his second effort is paramount right now because that has got this football team up at halftime, and they continue to do that. That's a long night for
Out of everything we said, that was the only positive thing that we could find in that first half. That was it. That was it. And we always look for positive. We rather talk positive than negative, but
James
based on what we saw, there was nothing.
Dustin Nielsen summed it up absolutely perfectly. It was an interesting first half of football. Well, we're going to tee up an interesting game between the Alouettes and the Argos right after this. The last remaining perfect team in the CFL, the Toronto Argonauts, head to Montreal to take on the Alouettes. The Owls, of course, coming off that 35-19 loss to the BC Lions. We'll see if they can get back on track, but it's going to be, once again, interesting watching one Cody Fajardo because, my goodness, he has already been sacked 22 times this season. If you do the math very quickly, he's on pace to get sacked 99 times. That, if you look at the Toronto Argonauts defense, this doesn't look like a good formula going into this one.
No, it doesn't. And, Milt, we're talking right there at the break. Toronto's coming off their second bye already in the first 5 weeks after Montreal's gone to BC on the West Coast. It gets handed to them. They come back, and now they got Toronto well wested, and you've got Oakman, Costigan, Hendricks, Smith, and Ramalade coming at you all rested and ready to just feast on some Cody Fajardo over there in Montreal. To me, it's a recipe for disaster. But, you know, I really think Montreal is a tough out. They are a tough out. The team's going to show up, and they're going to play physical football. And I really think that Toronto's coming in with an advantage because of their rest and their momentum that they have. Their ball-hawking defense. They pound the line of scrimmage offensively. I really like to see that. I like the Argonauts over Montreal.
Montreal better find a way to run the ball. That's the only way they'll have a chance to win this game. No, and you know, Toronto, their run defense is the best in the league, but they got to get William Stan back in. He's been William Stan down because they haven't been giving him an opportunity to get going. You look at the first game, he had 16 rushes, then he had 10 the next, then 8, then 6 last week. We know what he's capable of, but they have to do that to help out that offensive line. They don't get a running game going, they won't have a chance of winning this game, Chiz.
Well, it's their defense, right? For Montreal. I mean, they're average, they're only giving up 19 points a game. They're playing good football.
That's the tough.
And we came into the season expecting Montreal with Cody, a threat with his legs, and Stanback, that they would run the ball and be effective. He's averaging, William Stanback's average, he's over 4 yards rushing. Fortunately for them, Austin Mack has been special. And if you look at Austin Mack and his ability, and then Julian Grant, he's third in the league in receiving, and he doesn't have as many touches as Austin Mack. So they have to maybe shift what they thought they were going to do in the run game, because if you're not opening up big holes, William Stanback's not your guy. He's talented if he has some room and some holes because he's big and he gets moving, but he's not going to make guys miss in the hole, and right now that O-line's not opening up holes.
Yeah, I saw week 1, Ottawa against Montreal, and Jason Moss stuck to the game plan. Run it on 1st and 10 and put yourself in second medium. When you're not getting 5 yards on 1st and 10, it's awfully difficult. That's been the story for the Montreal Alouettes in the last 3 weeks.
All right, see how they can handle the Toronto Argonauts. In the meantime, Milt coming off his bye week. He is on fire. The Geniuses comment was phenomenal, but the William Please Stand Down? I mean, Stiegel, this is screen award worthy. Because he's on fire for the halftime, we're making him do stats. And Milt, I am shocked by the 75 rushing yards of the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, I thought they had a lot more than that. I thought Butler was already over 100 yards. But the one stat that stands out to me is the red zone, the green zone. The Elks have to find a way to score some points when they get there, Kate. Can they get it done and end the streak in this second half?
Will it be antler up or antler down. Looking to avoid an 0-6 start for the first time since 1938. We went back in time for that statistic. Will the home losing streak come to an end? Find out next.
Welcome back to Edmonton. The Elks trailing the Ticats 10-6 at halftime. Elks running back Kevin Brown is with our Ryan Rashog.
Not the finish to the half that you were hoping for. What did you guys talk about in the locker room there?
I mean, it's the simple plays. We got to catch the ball. We got to make the routine plays that we always do, and we just got to finish. We got to focus up.
At times this season, Kevin, when bad things have happened, your team's had a hard time pushing back and pushing through that. How do you take that little dip at the end and turn it into something more positive here?
I mean, it's still a close game. That's what we got to focus on. You know, come out here, we got to think it's 0-0. And come out like how we did in the first half and just finish.
Appreciate your time. Yeah, cheers.
No
Thanks.
problem.
Appreciate it.
All right, Ryan.
Okay.
Big part of the offense, no doubt about it. And Kevin Brown, Butler having an excellent game as well. Both running backs actually pretty productive in the first half of this game. Thank you very much for joining us for second half action. CJ Sims waiting, looking to bust a big one for Edmonton. We are underway. Hamilton leading 10-6 as we begin the third quarter. This will be taken by Cobb. Cobb trying to stretch it to the far side of the field. He'll get back up over the 35, but eventually chased out of bounds. Here's a look at Taylor Cornelius's highlight pack from the first half.
Yeah, I mean, again, like a lot of his games, you see a lot of good, and then you see one or two that you go, uh-oh, that's an issue, because he did look good, made some quick decisions running the ball, threw with comfort on the run, and then a blitz happens. He throws it behind Dunbar, and a chance for points just before the half disappears in front of his eyes.
0 for 2 in the red zone. Edmonton in that first half. They start here with the ball on their own 38. Cornelius quickly finds Dunbar for a first down. Dunbar to midfield. So he goes back to number 7 to start the third quarter, and it works.
Yeah, and this is, and we hear sometimes from fan bases that we cheer for one team or another. Well, that doesn't happen. What we do, though, and what I do for sure, is cheer for players to come back after a mistake. And, it wasn't Dunbar's fault. The ball was well behind him, but good to see that catch early on, and I'd love to see CJ Sims make a play tonight.
18 yards to Dunbar. Cornelius right over the middle again. Another completion. Some room to rumble this time for Kyron Moore. Stays on his feet. Kyron Moore to the 10-5 touchdown. Edmonton finding the end zone. First touchdown as a member of the Elks for Kyron Moore.
There's something to cheer about for Edmonton fans. How about that? And here's what is remarkable is Taylor Cornelius, it feels like after this throw in a real tight window that he threads the needle to Kyron Moore, that he went in at halftime and said, enough of this, man. I'm going to just go out and throw it. If they intercept it, whatever, but we're going to just get out there and go play ball. And he just, that was a porthole. That was no window. That was a tight one.
And the extra point is knocked through, so Edmonton goes on top 13-10 as they take only a minute and a half in the third quarter to find the end zone for the first time today.
Kyron Moore is he's going to take off right here, and we'll just follow him. He just goes around. He's going to run this. Look at how tight this window is. There's defender on one side and Simone Lawrence closing from inside out. He makes that big catch right over the middle. And again, Taylor Cornelius just moving to his left, throwing the opposite direction. And he threads the needle to Moore. Moore makes a man miss. And that can get you out of your call it a streak, but out of your slide.
Out of the slump.
Out of the slump.
Try to get them on track. Just 2 plays, 2 passes from Cornelius, 1 to Dunbar, 1 to Moore, and it's 72 yards and into the end zone. So the Elks have not had many things to cheer about offensively this season, but Kyron Moore now does.
Shout out, Mama.
Tyreek McAllister awaiting this kick, slides over and takes it just inside the 20. McAllister to the 30. Tyreek McAllister looking for some breathing room, and he's got it. Midfield races on, and he steps out at the 45. But the Ticats answer back, courtesy Tyreek McAllister.
Well, if we had a direct line to Tommy Condell, we'll say, you know what? Put this guy on, put him on offense. We saw it last week. He can run now. He can fly. Give him a little crease and away he goes. Great field position after the touchdown.
46-yard return for McAllister, and held up just enough by Faithful to slow him down and allow the rest of the Elks to catch up. Now look at this, Butler, a big burst, and both teams very efficient offensively to start the third quarter.
Got Duke coming in to help out with some blocking right here on your screen. You got Duke, and he's gonna help out in the blocking scheme. You got a down block, so you watch him come out. He's gonna go out into the flat, and just a huge hole in the middle for Butler.
Schultz fakes the handoff, rolling out to his right. AC Leonard in his face, and he's forced to throw it out of bounds on first down. That'll bring up 2nd and 10.
AC Leonard had a breakout game last week against Saskatchewan. He it was a quiet start for him. I think the expectation, again, very high that he would be sort of the leader off the edge and pass rush. He's one of those tall, lanky guys that Chris Jones absolutely loves out of Tennessee, and 39 career sacks coming into the season. He got 3 against Saskatchewan last week.
Had that big year in 2021 with 11. And yeah, 3 last week. 1 shy of the team record. Tying the team record, I should say. 1 shy of tying it. Now here's Schultz. Far side of the field. And that one with Darius Bratton in coverage against Tim White, and a super late flag. Really late flag. Flies just inside the 15. They were already trash talking each other by the time that one came out.
Edmonton number 8. The ball will be placed at the spot of the penalty. Automatic first down for Hamilton.
Okay, so they've threw the flag and said it's on McLaurin. It was Bratton who was working against Tim White.
Corner route for White. I thought Bratton was the guy in coverage.
Yeah, but they threw the flag on McLaurin, right? So
it can't be pass interference, though.
All right, so they had the number incorrect. It is on Bratton, who was the only guy who was in the vicinity. Now they'll hand it off to Butler. Butler down to the 5, trying to push through to the end zone. They stop him just short, but he should have another first down. Let's take another look at this penalty.
I think you're going to see a jersey grab by Darius Bratton on this, and it was 24. It wasn't McLaurin. So there's the grab on the shirt.
Oh yeah.
And he hung on to it for some time, and it's a dead giveaway because the shirt comes apart from the shoulder pads.
Now they'll drop it off to Butler again, and this time he could not find a second life. Wrapped up by Morgan and hammered back down. 2nd and goal.
Well, up until last week, the Edmonton Elks had real issues defensively stopping the run. I mean, they were giving up buckets of yards, and we've seen examples of that again tonight, but not that time, not down on the goal line. Konar steps up and really fills the gap, so there's no place to run there, and then they just pursue and get there.
2nd and goal. Now from the Edmonton 4. Butler stands in next to his quarterback. Now flares out to his right. Schultz looks that way. Wants to take it himself, and he does. Touchdown Hamilton. An answer from the Ticats. Matt Schultz finds the end zone. Let's go.
Second time we've seen Tommy Condell call a quarterback draw to Matt Schultz, and it's a well drawn up play because to get James Butler out of the backfield, you pull a linebacker usually with him, and that should open up a lane, or at least take one out of the box, so now you can block them up, get angles, and you get your quarterback in the end zone. Worked exactly the way you draw it up.
Leggio to make it a 4-point Hamilton lead. Lots of fireworks in the early going of the second half. Don't go anywhere tonight. These two teams are just heating up. Matt Schiltz picking his way to the end zone for the first time this season.
Well-designed play down in the red zone. Offensive coordinators must love this when they draw it up and it's executed just the way they drew it up.
Just strutting on the sideline, eh? We're up in the booth, just work to perfection. Now here's Cobb to the 30. Makes a nice move, takes it outside the 35 as Hamilton kicks it away again from C.J. Sims. Let's take another look at the touchdown.
Here's James Butler right here. Now James Butler is going to take off and leave the backfield. Go ahead and run it, guys, and watch when he gets out of the backfield. Goes in motion. Now stop it there. Konar has to go with him and watch the lane that is going to open up. Go ahead and run it. Konar is going to go with him, and now the lane opens up because no linebacker. They've taken one out of the box. It's basically just a simple math numbers game. Take James Butler, he takes a linebacker with him, and run your quarterback right where that linebacker was.
Here's Cornelius in trouble, trying to get away. He will not. Oh, what is he doing? What is he doing? He throws it away. It's picked up and brought back by Katsatonis. Touchdown, Hamilton. What is happening? The Ticats strike again. Oh, my goodness.
Jagarrett Davis is such a veteran, a smart veteran. He's right on the edge here. You're just going to see him just out of your screen, and he sees the flat in the back in the flat, or the receiver in the flat, and he just says, you know what, I'm going to just go up and get in his face. Controlled rush, and forces a mistake by Taylor Cornelius.
Leggio right down the middle, and Hamilton all of a sudden is up by 11. Well, if you were wondering if Cornelius can throw with his left hand, he can't. Katsatonis takes advantage. Touchdown, Hamilton. Well, we've seen a few bizarre things tonight, but this might top the list.
You know, we talked to Taylor Cornelius this week, as we do every week, and I asked him about the pressure of this streak and everyone talking about all the time. And he admitted to us, he said, you know, we're close, and we're so close to winning these games, and we're playing well enough at times. And what he fights against is trying to do too much. And in that play, you could see the reaction. He tried to do too much. Take the sack, lick your wounds, punt the ball away.
They kick it to Cobb again, and look at this. Gavin Cobb down the sideline, forced out just outside the Hamilton 50, right at the 50. As another big play puts Edmonton back in business.
Just a little lean there by Cobb on this return. He's going to go up the field and just a little bit of a lean inside, and then watch the move back out to the sideline and right down the rail. A little move inside, and then wow. Outside of containment, away he goes.
40-yard return for Gavin Cobb, and Cornelius back in here. They're sticking with him. Starts at the ball at the 50, hands it off. One nice move from Shannon Brooks, and a decent pickup on first down.
I just wonder about the mindset of Taylor Cornelius right now. I mean, all that's going on, the pressure of this skid that they're on, and he's got to now flush that. Bad plays, the certainty in football is that you're going to face bad plays. You're going to face adversity in a game. That's just going to happen. It's going to happen every game. It's what you do the next play, the next series. Let's see.
2nd and 6. Some pressure from the Ticats. Cornelius over the middle to Dunbar, and he's, ooh, did that get knocked away? Looked like he had it in his hands, And the ball is out and incomplete. Javian Elliott in his hip pocket.
Here he is. He's the inside receiver. And on this dig, it's been a good matchup to watch tonight. It's seen a couple with Leonard. Leonard got that PI call, but that's just Javian Elliott with a nice strip. OC Stephen McAdoo was hoping his quarterback would gain a little bit of confidence after the mistake with a catch there.
Dunbar had that one and kind of came to tuck it in and popped out. Julian, high kick, taken at the 10 by McAllister. Nowhere to go that time. Matt Schultz and the Ticats with a lead on the road. Welcome back to Commonwealth, where all the important people have come out for the game tonight, right, Glenn? Gord Miller, the commish.
Yeah, Gord and I, the very first year, 27 years ago, we were in the booth together. In fact, I did my audition for with TSN with Gord Miller, and of course and if I know Gord in that discussion with our commissioner, he's going to make a rule change before the night's out.
They'll hand it off to Butler, and he stopped just shy of the 15. And Purifoy getting into it with some members of the Ticats offense. Now, the last thing Edmonton needs to take any undisciplined penalties here. Ticats are one of the most, well, they average over 10 penalties per game, which is the worst number in the entire league. 24-13. Schultz and Hamilton on top, trying to make it 2 wins in a row. Long way to go in this one, midway through the third quarter. 3 options to the left, 3 to the right for Schultz. He decides to go over the middle, and he's got him. McAllister comes up big, takes it all the way out to the 50, and they work him into the offense, and it pays off big time.
This is interesting in a way to get McAllister involved. There he is right there, and what happens is Purifoy is going to walk out the Sam linebacker strong side. That's what Sam means, and he walks out and he's trying to drop to the zone, but because of the speed of McAllister, he just flies right through that window. A nice 35-yarder.
All the way up to the Hamilton 49, 35 for number 35. Schultz now out to his running back, over the head of Butler. Chris Jones caught it, and he's furious.
Tyreek McAllister out of Charleston. 64-yarder in the win against Ottawa. And yes, the CFL has found another potential superstar. You take a look at the rushing yards. We're really a tailback.
Yeah.
And he can play a lot of different spots. Also can return kicks. But that's with 355 carries and 25.61 in yards. That's an over 7-yard average.
Giving me a Greg McCray vibe in Winnipeg, you know? Use them in the returns, in the slot, running back a little bit. Schultz near side, and that one is incomplete and out of bounds, and a flag thrown against Noah Curtis. And Curtis is not happy.
Well, let's just set the table here, because Edmonton's defense is off the field, if not for this.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Edmonton, number 92. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down for Hamilton.
Jones holding the challenge flag. Curtis is adamant that he didn't do anything wrong. Let's find out.
Well, let's take a look. Go ahead and run it. We'll see where he comes from as this play sort of develops. This is Schultz throws it away, and the hit and the timing of the hit looked fine, except for, let's see on the follow through, because we've seen if
Jones has challenged it.
The play's been called roughing the passer, so you're going to have to see clear and obvious evidence to overturn it. And I saw it live, and I think it was the follow through and almost sort of trying to jam or pile,
like put his weight on him.
Yeah, pile drive Schultz into the ground.
Edmonton is challenging the ruling on the last play. They believe there should not have been roughing the passer. The play will be reviewed.
So Curtis gets his wish, and his coach throws the challenge flag. Here's another wider look at it.
Take a look. There he is, right in the middle of your screen, and the timing of that hit is fine. There's your quarterback back there in Matt Schultz. He just gets
certainly not high or anything. Like, he kind of wraps him up and takes him down, right?
Yeah, I think it was just because of how late the flag came out as well.
Yeah. All right, let's find out. They have their ruling. We'll send it down to the field.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. Edmonton loses their challenge, and they lose one team timeout. It's first down for Hamilton.
Well, the problem that Chris Jones and Noah Curtis have with this particular play is that all the shots didn't have enough evidence. I mean, whether it was called one or not called one and challenged by the other side, challenged by Steinauer, I don't think either would have been overturned. There wasn't enough clear and obvious evidence.
Schultz works from the Edmonton 46. He'll hand it off to Butler. Butler finally taken down after 7 yards, running hard and requiring 2 Elks to eventually stop him. Butler's at 94 rushing yards now in this game.
Yeah, that'll be his first 100-yard game. Keeps at it and stays healthy tonight. Shouldn't be surprising, really. Edmonton's given up 150 yards a game along the ground.
2nd and 3. They'll hand it off again. And what an effort by Butler. This guy is picking up some difficult yards on the ground. That'll put him over 100 in the game, or almost right at 100 in the game.
You know, sometimes players will say we don't listen to the noise, but they sometimes hear it. And maybe Butler's just had enough of people saying, you know, what happened to James Butler? Where's James Butler? Why is James Butler not the James Butler we saw last year? Tommy Condell's given him a lot of chances and a lot of touches tonight.
Edmonton's defense trying to get off the field. There it is, 11 carries, 101 yards, a couple of big ones in there, and a touchdown. Near side, McAllister had to go down to a knee and still was not able to haul that in, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
That was a similar play to his play against Ottawa. Try to get the bubble screen, get him with all that speed out there. And boy, in that Ottawa play, they got big blocks off the edge from Duke Williams and Tim White and all those guys chipping in. And then he accelerated. If you saw the pregame show, I highlighted that play, and he accelerated to 36 kilometers an hour.
A little bit faster than me. I can't even go that fast on a bike. Here's Schultz, gets it back to Butler. Butler turns it upfield. And he gets a good chunk, but it won't be enough for a first down.
A real makeable field goal range. On the road, want to, you know, finish with points.
A field goal here puts you up 14.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the 2 scores, but your next field goal makes it a 3-possession game. So
Leggio, 10 for 10 since landing in Hamilton. A nice soft landing for Leggio after being released by the Bombers. A 36-yarder just inside the left hash to extend the Hamilton lead. And he once again tucks it inside that left upright. Steinauer's Ticats comfortably on top with 3.5 to play in the 3rd. Well, Jake Serezna makes a big impact on the field and off the field. For more on that, let's send it down to Ryan Rashog.
Yeah, Dustin, a great initiative here between Serezna, the Stollery, the Edmonton Elks organization called the Cleats of Strength. Basically, a young patient from the Stollery gets a chance to design their own custom cleat that's going to be worn in the game. This was Zach designing these special cleats. He's a big hunting, loves hunting, so you can see the camo. Guitar player as well, so we made that part of the design as well, and his number on there as well. It's going to be auctioned off for the Stollery, available at goelks.com/cleats. It's a season-long initiative, and once again, the Stollery Children's Hospital, just an incredible organization here in town involved with the Elks in a great initiative here, guys.
Well, this is a great community when it comes to charity and auctions, and they will raise a lot of money for an absolutely wonderful cause. 1st and 10. Cornelius has a short completion. French hauls it in, but a pickup of only about 2 yards.
Well, I'm sure there's many that, sort of after the Cornelius play debate whether or not that maybe Chris Jones should have made a change, and just because of his mental state. Where was he going to be mentally? But he came out and he threw that one in there to Dunbar in a tight window. Excuse me, to Kyron Moore in a tight window.
2nd and 8 here. Pressure. Cornelius trying to get away. There's a flag. Cornelius finally gets it to Brown, who breaks one tackle, and the second from Ted Laurent will throw him out of bounds, but this will be a hold against Edmonton.
But to continue the thought, Chris Jones has gone through that. He did that. He tried that. Early on, Cornelius started the first few games of the season. Then when they went over to Ottawa, he started Jarrett Daggy. And Jarrett showed some signs, but real young in his first start.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton, number 62. We'll go back 15 yards from the end of the play, and it's going to be 3rd down.
So it's a face mask on Martez Ivy, and that'll back them up even further.
That one you got to call because it's a player safety issue as well.
So Julian stands on his own 10. A high kick. McAllister takes it at the 45. McAllister to the 50 on the return. And no further. Like a 15 yards, no yards flag sitting just inside the 50.
Which puts him in plus territory.
No yards, Edmonton, number 10. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's going to be 1st down for Hamilton.
Excellent field position here for Schultz with a 14-point lead. Has Godwin at the 30. Godwin trying to be tracked down from behind by the Elks, but what a pickup there, and he has been heavily involved in the offense. Schultz is down again, and this time he appears to be in significant pain. That's Taylor Powell warming up on the sideline.
I think it was Pelly that made the hit. Number 96. No penalty flag, and I think it was a clean hit. Here he comes. It was his knee, or he grabbed his hamstring,
grabbed his leg right away. Ajimbong in his Elks debut after being acquired in a trade.
It was 95,
Didn't
Pelly.
seem anything overly vicious on it.
No,
and he reached for his leg, even if the weight would have been on the upper body. But yeah, Coach Orlando Steinauer out now as well, as this appears to be a rather significant injury to the lower body of Matt Schiltz.
Taylor Powell will warm up in that number 2 spot, and number 3 is Kai Loxley. Just saying.
Kai Loxley finishing off a Tiger Cats win in Edmonton. Last time we saw him here, he was pacing the sidelines and wouldn't move. Powell spent his college football time with a few different FBS teams, last playing 9 games with Eastern Michigan, completing 174 passes on 269 attempts for 2,111 yards and 16 touchdowns. And now Schiltz is at least sitting as they continue to work on his legs. Well, when you saw him in the pain that he was in initially, certainly did not look good, and everybody taking a knee around him, but he's actually up, and now he will be helped off the field.
A perennial all-star and now 6th offensive lineman Chris Van Zyl will help him off. So being a great teammate, and that's nice luxury to have for Orlando Steinauer, to have Chris Van Zyl as your 6th O-lineman. Let's take another look, because you know it just, other than the weight of a D lineman on your, just, I guess his left leg, his knee hit the ground and his left leg kind of turned.
Yeah,
and
he
it was
started
almost like his hip. Yeah, his hip got twisted when he went down with the weight of the D lineman on top of him.
Bo Levi Mitchell already banged up, unavailable. Schiltz now leaving the game. Taylor Powell makes his first CFL appearance, and he hands it off to Butler. Not a bad guy to work with, especially with the way he's running the ball tonight, and a nice pickup on first down for Butler.
Yeah, so Matt Schiltz has started a few games in a row now, so the number 2 and Powell getting some reps it's not, you know, you don't have to drastically change. It's not like he just arrived a week ago. You don't have to drastically change your play calling. Obviously, you'll pare it down and keep it simple for him.
We'll see how Edmonton's defense approaches this change at quarterback. Powell, first pass coming, looking towards the end zone to White, and he's got it! Welcome to the Canadian Football League, Taylor Powell, as he drops one in a bucket for Tim White. 17-yard strike.
Wide side corner, too. How about that? Sometimes when you're young, you just don't know any better. Just go out there and sling it. I mean, he had some pressure too. Chris Jones went after him, sent Purefoy, got some pressure, tried to push the pocket, collapse the pocket, and Taylor Powell stands in there, throws a corner with great accuracy, and drops it in for the Hamilton TD.
His first CFL pass is a touchdown. That's got to be a pretty elite group. Leggio puts it home, and the Ticats have blown this thing completely wide open. 34-13. They lead here on a Thursday night football affair at Commonwealth.
I'll tell you what, that's a great throw. To be that young and thrown in this game with pressure on you and the blitz down in the, I'm not sure they were right in the green zone, to put the accuracy on that throw and give Tim White a chance to react to the ball, and 1 for 1 with a touchdown,
17-yarder
for Taylor Powell. Oh, it was the red zone.
Yeah, it was. I like to say you can't dream of a better start, but really you can't dream of a better start outside of the circumstances in which he was forced into this ball game, but he came in and handled it Now this will be kicked to CJ Sims. Sims to the 30. Sims turning it upfield just shy of the 40 where he's popped and stopped. And that is where Daggy will get the ball for the Elks. Cornelius taken out of the game. Jarrett Daggy takes over. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in his brief time at the helm this season.
Yeah, coming into this game, had thrown 1 more touchdown pass than Taylor Cornelius had in just that limited action in the 1 start against Ottawa. He went 19 of 33 in that game and 223 passing, but the 3 interceptions were the issue. 1 more touchdown, but also 1 more interception that Taylor Cornelius had thrown. So
a little bit of a gunslinger from what we've seen so far, but in this situation, down 34-13, what a weird quarter. See Sims talking with Jones there, getting an earful from his head coach. But an interesting quarter for Cornelius as it starts with a touchdown to Kyron Moore and ends with him watching from the sideline as Daggy once again takes over at quarterback for the Elks, who continue to search for answers at home. Answers they simply have not been able to find. 34-13, the Ticats lead after 3. Well, low-scoring first half, but things completely changed. 24 points for the Ticats in the 3rd quarter, Glenn. That's quite a surge.
Yeah, the wrong records are about to fall for the Edmonton Elks. And, you know, this game, you've heard many, many times coaches say that this game always comes down to 3, 4, maybe 5 plays. And it's not just at the end of games. It can happen in the 1st quarter, that a key moment. And those 3 plays tonight so far went in Hamilton's favor. They earned it. I'm not saying it was, you know, they had to be there. They had to be in the right place. They had to be hustling to the ball and all those things. But they went against Edmonton once again. And you don't win those 3 or 4 plays, you don't win games. Now what?
Great question. I'd like to welcome our viewers joining us from TSN 3. Edmonton trailing Hamilton 34-13. Hamilton looking to make it 2 in a row. Edmonton on the verge of falling to 0-6. Daggy to Mitchell, who gets hammered but hangs on to the ball even with the heavy pop courtesy of Woods. First down, Edmonton.
A little bit high, so Mitchell had to go up and get it. Good for him to have the courage to do so. And he does feel a heavy hit.
First and 10 from the Edmonton 52 for Daggy. Gets this one away, and it is almost intercepted. Kenneth George was thinking he had his first CFL interception, but he couldn't hang on.
That's the almost intercepted by 3 Ticats. I mean, they were fighting and racing for this one, and this is Jarrett Daggy that are, you know, basically telegraphing it. Look at the white jerseys flying around trying to get a stat, including Simone Lawrence.
They wanted it. George had the best crack at it, and maybe some friendly fire from Javian Elliott. The only thing that stopped him. Here's Daggy, far side of the field this time, and that is held on to by Vincent Forbes Montbleau, and that should be enough for an Edmonton first down.
You know, when you take a look at Jarrett Daggy, and he's so young and he's earned the 2nd job. So, you know, when I look at this throw, I think, okay, this is why they believe that he could be a guy that steps in and maybe can win a game for them and become the guy. But, you know, they've also got Trey Ford on the sideline. And Trey Ford won a game last year against these Hamilton Tiger Cats on the road.
First and 10 for Daggy. He's going to take a deep shot down the far side of the field, and it's hauled in. Mitchell swung around and snagged it. Biggest play of the season for Dylan Mitchell.
And pass interference, Hamilton number 3. It's going to be first down Edmonton at the spot of the foul.
And this is why he earned the second job. This is why he earned the number 2. So, you know, there's a pass interference on the jersey, and Mitchell, who's had himself a much better game tonight than the start of the season. He's contributed with some big catches. That's the biggest.
1st and 10 from the Hamilton 13 for Deggy, trying to provide some sort of spark to this Edmonton offense. Ticats bringing some heat. Deggy, far side, held onto by Dunbar. And he stops just shy of the end zone. Could be another first down here for Edmonton. And now some pushing and shoving around the 10.
You know, when Deggy came on in relief of Taylor Cornelius, not the start in Ottawa, but in relief, I think he went like 12 of 14 or something like that. I mean, he threw for just over 100 yards and played very well. And it was against the Toronto Argonauts.
Deggy's 4 of 5 for 62 yards. 1st and goal from the Hamilton 2 for Edmonton. Brown stands into the left of Deggy. Deggy will be throwing here, looking for Dunbar. Goes up, can't haul it in. Was working there against Javian Elliott again, and Elliott gets the win.
It's a straight fade route. Close, nice play. Elliott's had himself a game.
He definitely has. We've mentioned his name a number of times and had the interception in the red zone as well. They'll try it again. 2nd and goal here for Edmonton. Need just a couple of yards to finish the job. Deggy takes it, hands it off to Brown, trying to push ahead, get some help, and he's there. Touchdown, Edmonton! First rushing touchdown of the season for Kevin Brown as they try to hang on to a glimmer of hope.
Well, you got to enjoy it. I mean, you got to enjoy these moments so that you want more. And there becomes more of a sense of urgency, and there's a good push right at the end of it to cross the line and finish. And Jared Daggy puts together a drive.
8 plays, 70 yards.
We ain't done!
I think he said they're not done.
That's, yeah, emphatically.
Well, and they're not. There's 11 and a half minutes. Oh, boy. Faithful yanks that wide left. I was going to say there's 11 and a half minutes, and they're down just 14. They're down 15. Kevin Brown, though, a bright spot since he arrived in the green and gold, and his family here to celebrate with number 4. Nothing's telling Kevin Brown this ain't over yet. Well, that's what he told us.
Yeah, he told us it isn't over, and it isn't. There is plenty of time, and they're down 2 possessions.
8 plays, 70-yard drive, 3.5 minutes with Daggy. And now this will be taken and brought back just shy of the 40. The offense will trot onto the field without Matt Schultz. For an update on that, let's send it down to Ryan Rashog.
Dustin Schultz remains in the medical tent. There's been a steady stream of offensive linemen and various teammates going in and closing the door behind them for a short visit. We're told he's done for the night. It's a lower body injury, but as I said, remains in the medical tent. Players are going to visit. And so with Bo Levi Mitchell in a headset on the sidelines and Schultz in the tent, a different look at quarterback here for the Ticats.
Worked out well for Powell. His first pass attempted ended up going for a touchdown. Now they'll bring McAllister in next to him, and they'll give it to McAllister. McAllister about 5 yards with a nice initial burst before the Elks could wrap him up.
McAllister with James Butler.
So, both of them right there.
Yeah. Right, both in the backfield, and with a young quarterback, and get the running game going and just grind it down now with a 2-possession lead is I'm sure the game plan for Tommy Condell. Now he's going to have to throw it at times. That doesn't mean run every play, but high percentage throws and get a ton of Butler or McAllister.
Butler already over 100 yards in this ball game. 2nd and 5 from the Hamilton 45. Powell out to Butler, who's open, and he's got it. Butler to midfield, down inside the 50, makes a move to stay on his feet, and eventually it's Bratton who's there to push him out of bounds at the Edmonton 35.
If this looks familiar, it should, because when James Butler was in Vancouver last year with Nathan Rourke used this type of play all the time. I mean, watch him come out of the backfield, and this isn't a check down where you look downfield and you wait and you go through 2 or 3 reads.
That's the play.
This is the play. The play is to get it to his hands in the first couple of steps.
And they get it to his hands again, and look at him go. Butler putting on a clinic all the way down to the 15. He torched Edmonton at the beginning of last season in BC, that first game. Remember, he was sensational. He's putting together an excellent night here.
Inside handoff, nice block down. Good push by Beard. David Beard had his guy about 10 yards down the field.
All I can think about is I hope I'm not playing against Butler in fantasy this week, because that's a big night on a Thursday. Look at this, 16, 126, 40 receiving yards and a touchdown. On the sideline now, McAllister will handle the running back duties. 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 15. And they'll give it to McAllister. He'll take it towards the 10, eventually gets there. Good second effort before Purifoy puts him down.
Niles Morgan is maybe the best tackler for the Edmonton Elks. He's right here, and he is going to watch. He's going to fill the hole nicely like he's done so many times this year and miss. That's how good Tyreek McAllister is. That's their best tackler.
Tough guy to make miss. 3rd trip to the red zone here for the Ticats. 3 for 3 thus far. 8.5 to play in the 4th quarter. McAllister remains in the game at running back. And before this play can happen, whistles from the officials.
Procedure, Hamilton number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Brandon Kemp, the guilty individual. It's a big man, 6'7", 310, working that right tackle spot first time we mentioned him, so pretty solid night, I would think, so far.
Yeah, if you're a DB or an O-lineman and you're not mentioned, that's a good thing.
Congratulations. I mean, until now.
You've had a good night.
Prior to this, he's been excellent. 2nd and 10 now from the Edmonton 15. Lots of moving pieces here for Taylor Powell. Butler back in the game at running back. Clock ticking down. Barely got that play away. Now Powell trying to escape. Some pressure coming. And he just throws it away as he's taken down just outside the Edmonton 20. And that'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, good decision. Real good decision by a young guy. Don't try and force it. You've got a 15-point lead now. And a field goal gets you to 3 possessions. So now, you know, you throw that one away. Don't force a turnover and you know, try to take away any hope that Edmonton has. It's an important field goal for Leggio.
11 for 11 as a member of the Ticats. Perfect so far tonight. Perfect so far with Hamilton. And I didn't jinx him that time. He knocks it through. Some flags fly with some pushing and shoving as the Ticats bullying the Elks tonight. Time now for your Coors Light moment of chill, and we take a look at wide receiver Dylan Mitchell, and this modern technology always blows my mind.
I'm not sure how modern it is, but it is new. Hey, big night for Mitchell in a lot of ways. I mean, he was struggling coming in. He had just 10 catches for 61 yards. And tonight he's got 3. That was a big one. I mean, like a tough catch, and he did a nice job of pulling that in. He's got 52 yards receiving, almost the same total as he had in the first 5 games.
The Elks have been backed up here 15 yards objectionable conduct penalty at the end of that last play by Niles Morgan. So 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 25 for Jared Daggy, who took over for Cornelius in the second half of this football game. Daggy, far side, has a completion. That's Moore. And just no room there. The ball pops out, but does go out of bounds on the far side of the field.
Nice touchdown for Kyron Moore. You know, and again, that was when, you know, I'm sure there were some Edmonton fans thinking after the mistake by Cornelius, do they pull Cornelius then? You know, maybe his mind isn't in the right place after another mistake like that. And then Cornelius came out and hit Moore for a big touchdown. So he actually flushed that play and got in. And then, you know, I just think get to a point where you got to see something different, and that's where we see Daggy.
8 yards more. They just need 2 for that first down. Brown trying to get there, and try as he might. We'll see where this ball is spotted. It was very close.
Yeah, Daggy's got to stay out of those plays. Once you hand the ball off, you see quarterbacks try and get a lead block on some wide plays at times, but Daggy almost got kind of legs cut out from underneath him.
So it is 3rd and 4 or 5 inches. And that is Cornelius, who handles the short yardage duties. He'll slide up under center to keep his team on the field. And he lunges ahead, no problem, takes care of business, and Daggy will come back out with the rest of the offense. (37-19). Hamilton on top. Daggy barking out some instructions here quickly. You know, Daggy can finish this game strong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do, but if Daggy finishes the game strong,
I think it's a good discussion. I mean,
but his reward would be to go on the road against Winnipeg.
Yeah, and you know, and here's what we hear from the coaching staff for the Elks. They will say, when we go to practice and we see the prep and all of that stuff, Taylor Cornelius is still our best chance to win. We have to play the quarterback to give us our best chance to win. And so that will probably remain Taylor Cornelius because of just the inexperience of Jared Daggy. But again,
here's Daggy near side. Almost picked off. Mitchell was waiting for it.
And he's had a couple of those, Dustin. So again, like I don't know. I remember going back to last year, and we saw Trey Ford get a couple of games. Now he lost a couple here at Edmonton, as the other quarterbacks have as well. But he did win one out in Hamilton. He's a good dual threat type of quarterback. He can run really well.
They used a first-round pick on him. And he didn't lose his job because of poor play. He got injured after the win in Hamilton.
Right.
And then Cornelius got another shot. Now it's McAllister trying to find some space, and he does. Midfield, McAllister, what a move. Get him a block. They do. No. Down to the 30, the 20, the 10. He's gone. See you later. Tyreek McAllister, a house call. Brilliant stuff from 35 in white.
You can't help but smile if you're Steinauer over there. Coach Steinauer going.
The Ticats are standing around like there's a flag somewhere in the field, or they're in shock of what just happened. Did he step out of bounds, maybe? None of the Ticats are celebrating.
Holding Hamilton, number 82. It's a 10-yard penalty. It's going to be first down for Hamilton.
I did not see a flag on the field at the end of the play. I looked back. I don't know if they'd already picked it up, but McAllister's brilliant display of returnability wiped off the board. Boy, This guy is a walking highlight reel. 79-yard return is what it would have been. And our crew is looking for the penalty right now. We're going to step away with just over 4 minutes remaining. A big one from McAllister. Wiped off the board.
You know, I know a lot of football fans, and I'll put myself on this list, get frustrated with penalties on big returns like this and blame the officials for it, but this is holding, folks. I mean, this is unnecessary. It's Anthony Frederico, and it's unnecessary to hold the guy. Now it's 40, 50 yards away from where the ball was caught, but that's right in the plain view of the official, and it's unnecessary. That's a player that needs to be coached up.
Powell will hand this off to Butler, and Butler a short pickup on first down.
But, you know, again, the coach has got to coach up the players to stop tackling guys when you got returners like this. Now, just for fun, let's watch the work by McAllister. Sidestep, 79, balance, speed, and acceleration through the cut. I mean, this guy is a star, and this is going to be fun to watch 35 all year. So if you're on the kick return team, like Frederico, do not tackle a guy at the line of scrimmage. Come on.
Here's Powell, steps up in the pocket, put it towards the hands of Sindeni, but they came out the other side. 3-minute warning just around the corner, and the Ticats will be set to kick this away.
You know, I'm going to go a step further on this, because here's the thing. You know, I've been on kick returns, and you want to win that battle, and it can get physical, and you sometimes want to grab, but that is a conscious decision to go that long, flat out holding a guy when you have a dynamite returner with great speed that'll probably make him miss anyway.
When you have a guy with that ability, right?
Yeah, let's put it this way, it's a selfish penalty to take.
Kick that'll bounce at the 21. Sims goes to get it. Flag on the return, also a flag out by the kicker actually, and he was down. We'll sort this out as we are now inside 3 minutes. The Elks losing at home again. Well, another home game for the Elks, and we once again take a look at the streak. 1,370 days since the last home win. You have to go back to 2019, and they've been doubled up almost in the scoring department as well. They've had some close ones along the way, but for the most part, it's been domination by the visitors here at Commonwealth. We're resetting this kick. There was offsetting penalties. They moved it back 5 yards, and now the kick is at least away clean. Sims takes it at the 11. CJ Sims right up the middle, nowhere to go, just beyond the 20 and no further.
So who do you start? Here's what happens for Edmonton after this one. They go to Winnipeg, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then they are at home against the BC Lions, and
then Winnipeg again.
You know, when you're a coach with these quarterbacks every single day, you know who's earned what spots. And Trey Ford right now is in the 3rd spot. However, I mean, I don't know. What do you have to lose
to give him a look? Here's Daggy. That one goes up. Dunbar couldn't hang on. Lawrence kind of grabbed him by the head and took him down.
And I'm not giving up on Jared Daggy, who's a little banged up after that one.
It's just a matter of, in this league, you have to find a quarterback.
Well, yeah, and you've got one that has a dual threat guy that won a game for you last year. I mean, there's a good vibe there. He won a game for you. I mean, he went into Hamilton and played very well and won that game. He can take off and run. You can run a lot of different option type running offense.
Daggy over the middle. Dunbar is there, and he hauls it in for a first down. Considering the problems they've had in the quarterback position, it's a little surprising to me that we haven't seen him at all this year.
Yeah.
Like not even a snap here or there.
Yeah, exactly. And work him into maybe a package. So you let Cornelius or Jared Daggy, if that's your guy, you let him watch for a series on the sidelines. You know, sometimes that takes a quarterback out of his rhythm, but these quarterbacks don't have a rhythm yet. So
Daggy, tight window, but he's able to connect with Kyron Moore as Edmonton moves the ball late here.
Let's go back and take a look at that game. I mean, he's playing against Hamilton on the road. This is him running the football, and you know, I'm obviously a little bit biased towards his nationality and would love to see him get an opportunity. But listen, this team desperately needs a win. This was talked about today or tonight as a must-win game in July. I mean, the true must-win games are the only games that you play that if you lose them, you're done, you go home. That's the true must-win. But when you're talking and using the vernacular must-win in July, I think you got to get outside the box, and maybe Trey Ford is an outside the box thinking, but and I'm not giving up on Daggy either, but I don't know. Got to do something.
Well, Daggy's had his start.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't go well.
Yep.
Cornelius has had a bunch of them that didn't go well. Maybe Trey Ford's able to work some magic. Here's Daggy. Good throw on the run. Finds Forbes Montbleau, who tries to stretch ahead for a first down. Might be just shy of it.
And Daggy's made some good throws tonight already.
Yeah.
Like that last one when he threaded the needle there, that was a good throw. So was that one. So, you know, again, you got some guys to build around, but he's young. We saw him start in Ottawa. Okay, I'll let it go.
Daggy, 25 years old.
They're trying to find the next one. The next one of those guys.
Gord Miller? Ricky Ray, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Near side. Oh, boy. Heavy hit. And Maurice French held on to this. That's a nice catch from French, who's shown some flashes in his brief time in Edmonton.
Yeah, and French has had to work or wait the rest of this second half to get another chance to make a catch, because he dropped a key one in a key moment in the first half, and that was right down at the goal line. Turned into 3 instead of 7. And, you know, you want a chance to make up for those mistakes, and he had to wait this whole second half for that chance right there, and he made the best of it.
17 yards for French, and with the clock ticking down towards 60 seconds here, Daggy looking for a major towards the end zone in the corner, incomplete. French with Leonard in coverage, no chance at it.
Hamilton now go back-to-back wins. You know, and they'll say, well, okay, you beat Ottawa, and now you've beat Edmonton.
Yeah.
Team that was 0-5. However, and we'll see what the health status of Matt Schultz is as the week goes on. But
and Bo.
Yeah, and Bo Levi Mitchell, and how close they are to coming back. But this is now you get on a bit of a roll. Now the next one up for Hamilton is against Toronto at home, and that rivalry getting heated up, and one of arguably in some across the country have put Toronto ahead of Winnipeg in their rankings.
They look good.
They look real good.
There's 3 teams I think you probably put at the top of that list that you can make a case for. Toronto, Winnipeg, and BC have all had phenomenal starts to the season. Ticats opened last year 1-4, and they look like they will avoid a repeat of that here tonight. Here's Daggy. Pressure from the Ticats. Daggy towards Dunbar, and he's got it! Touchdown Dunbar late. His first as a member of the Elks comes against his former club.
And can I say this? The right reaction by Dunbar after it. You know, I've seen a couple of guys from Edmonton make a catch and really celebrate when they're down by 3 scores. You know, and That's the right reaction.
Back to work.
Yeah, you made a play, but we've lost another game, and that doesn't feel good. We got to fix that.
Touchdown drive led by Daggy late in a game. Faithful puts one through, and it is an 11-point game with 57 seconds on the board. The Elks sitting at 19. They will go to 20 tonight, tying the St. Louis Browns 1953. Let's go to that team who lost 20 home games in a row as well.
Wow.
We're turning the clock back a little bit here, Suits. They probably didn't even have a telestrator. And then they moved them.
Yeah.
They became the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, that's some old footage. That's going back. You know, and I guarantee you the players feel sick about it. It just, if you're going to watch SportsCenter later tonight, and I know that you will, we'll have a recap for you, and there'll be 3 plays that turn this game, because there always is. There's 3 or 4 plays in every game that determine the outcome, and they can be earlier in the middle of the game, but there were 3, and we'll get into it.
And in a series of losses like this team has had at home, they're usually on the wrong side of those 3 plays.
Exactly. And, you know, you can overcome one if you have the right mindset. But if you let it spiral, one turns into 2, and then you got problems.
Short kick, and Edmonton tries to hop on it at the 50, and they do. Super late flag. Scott Hutter, who's on the ball. Seems like the reaction from Edmonton here, though, is that they're not happy with whatever the ruling is on the field.
Well, the first question is, did it go 10 yards? The onside kick.
It went 10 yards.
Well, that's... Then the next one is, did anyone interfere with someone trying to recover the ball? In other words, you can't run over a guy that's settled under the ball. What you have to do on the onside kick team is try and recover it, and if you collide in an attempt to recover the ball with the guy, that's fine.
Mike Shepard, special teams coach. Interesting week for him after the way the game in Regina ended.
Yeah.
Eight plays, 88 yards on that last touchdown drive for Edmonton. And we believe that Niles Morgan is the man that these officials are discussing right now. Took an objectionable conduct penalty earlier in the quarter.
Well, if he gets a second, he's done. The game's done anyway, but... Yeah, I looked at the replay. It was a good onside kick.
There are 2 penalties on the last play. They're both against Edmonton, number 45. The first one, a 15-yard misconduct penalty. The second one is a rough play disqualification. We're going to go back to the 15-yard line. It's Edmonton ball, and Edmonton 45 is disqualified from the remainder of the game.
As one of your leaders on the defensive side of the ball, maybe wanting to see some more composure. Let's get a look at this.
Well, you see him right in the middle of your screen. So what does he do? He gets up and
Chris Jones saying use your head. And an early trip to the room for Morgan, who's a big piece of the team's future, but frustrated tonight. It's a fine line between,
I understand.
I mean, you're frustrated because you're losing, but at the same time.
And they weren't winning. They weren't winning this game with that onside kick either. So, you know, I don't condone it.
179 penalty yards tonight for Edmonton, though. Daggy, Dunbar can't hang on to it. He's popped on this one. little slow to get up. Look like he took a shot right in the back. Dunbar, one of the big pieces they brought in to solidify the offense and help take Cornelius to the next level. Kyron Moore as well. They re-signed Mitchell for 2 seasons, and then Gino Lewis was the big one. And he is on the 6th game and unavailable. The plan has not gone as originally they thought it would with the offense. 2nd and 10 here for Daggy. Hit as he throws. And a flag, might have been a helmet on helmet to the quarterback at Daggy. Sounded pretty vicious. Well, I think I've asked you this a number of times doing these Edmonton games, Glenn, but I don't know what happens this week.
Wow, what a spin.
Nice move.
Full speed, spin move.
Carney's got 3 sacks on the season coming into the game tonight.
Roughing the passer, Hamilton, number 5. We're going to go up 15 yards from the other play. It's going to be first down for Edmonton.
27-year-old out of UNC.
Is a high hit. Hit him in the head.
Nice move, though.
Yeah, it really was.
Put him in the spin cycle there. Daggy from his own 38. Dumps it off to Brown. Brown, nice job to pick up a first down for Edmonton here late.
Well, Hamilton's, we'll see what the health of their quarterbacks are in that situation.
Yeah.
But here's some real good news. Again, playmakers, they found another one in Tyreek McAllister. So that's one thing.
Back-to-back big games, yeah.
But they also got James Butler going. You get James Butler going tonight, and you can play both of them at the same time in the backfield. That bodes well for this offense.
Daggy up high, turning around and snagging it was French. He's feeling it a little bit after hauling that one in. He's made some pretty impressive catches tonight.
Well, here's what happens and what coaching staffs do with teams like Edmonton right now. They're looking for anyone who quits. So, if you're one of those guys that say, "Oh, we're losing again, so I'm going to stop trying," then you don't stay around pro football very long.
So you learn something about your team in these situations.
Yeah, you just have to keep watching, and they'll look at every player and say, which guy, is there any guy that just quit on it? Or do they all keep working even though the scoreboard looks the way it looks? And you could say that a couple of catches by French. Now he's going to be pulled off because of the medical spotter.
Yeah, when he turned that ball upfield, his head did have a little bit of contact, and he hesitated ever so slightly before he got up. So they'll take him out for a look.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 33 seconds, please. 33 seconds.
Chris Jones, like many Elks fans watching on right now, continuing to try to figure out what a recipe for success is at home. Here's Daggy. He's going to look for a big chunk on the far side of the field. Woods working there against Mitchell, and it falls incomplete. Brings up second down with 20 seconds on the clock.
I like the secondary for Hamilton. They played well tonight. Javian Elliott has made some nice plays. He has an interception, got on the board in that regard, and seen a couple of hits from Lawrence Woods. Woods, a guy that was a returner initially in the Canadian Football League, has taken over that corner spot for this game.
Faithful out for a 45-yarder. And he strikes it well, puts it home, and the lead is 8. We talk about some of those big plays in a game, and oh, Glenn, here they are.
Yeah, three big plays. This one where French drops it. That could have been 10-0, turned into 6-0. Then Dunbar, throw behind him. That could have been 7-0 or at least 13-7, and that was the third one. That was the miscue that where Hamilton scored 14 points in about a minute and a half. Because they had just scored. Taylor Cornelius tried to do too much. And that's where they lost. That's basically those 3 plays where this game was won and lost.
How much can you read into Daggie's fourth quarter, considering the Ticats would have been playing
completely different?
Yeah, exactly.
What you have to do to judge Jarrett Daggie so far with just a really small sample size is look at the Ottawa start. How did he do there? And that's...
Elks looking for the ball again. And it looked like it was held onto by the Ticats in spectacular fashion, actually. A nice job to hang on with some traffic in the face, and that will seal it away. Week 6 continues tomorrow night with Montreal taking on Toronto. Kind of a quick week for Montreal, playing in Vancouver on Sunday, traveling all the way back out east to take on the Argos.
Yeah, they gotta like it's not just protection, it's play calling, and it's Cody Fajardo too. But you know, when you get sacked as much as he is and getting that pressure. What was that stat we talked about earlier in the league? It was over 90 possessions where there was a sack and only 1 touchdown in that time.
Misconduct foul, 10 yards against Hamilton 32. It's first down for a Hamilton.
Most of the sacks come on second down because of passing down. So on second down, you get that sack. Now you're 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 20, and really tough to convert with the speed of the defenses in Canadian football right now. So that's what Montreal's got to shore up. They got to shore up their protections, whether it be through play calling, different types of plays, Cody stepping up and climbing in the pocket.
Maybe try to get Stanback going as well.
Get Stanback going, and the O-line, you know, taking it up a notch.
All smiles for Orlando Steinauer as his team puts up 37 points. As Powell into the game for an injured Schultz will take a victory knee. And the Edmonton Elks have once again lost at home. Chris Jones continuing to look for answers. Steinauer's team has now won 2 in a row and some positive things for them to build on.
And they take on Toronto. The best rivalries in the country.
That's a big one out east. The streak for Edmonton gets uglier. 20 consecutive losses at home. The Ticats adding to it here on Thursday Night Football. 37-29. Your final as Edmonton continues to look for answers. That'll do it for us. Sports Center is next.
On a light night in the sports world, you know we are mailing in this edition of Sports Center with Jay Onright. But our baseball insider Steve Phillips will join us to preview the second half of the Blue Jays season. Our old friend Mike Garafolo is back from the NFL Network to get us set for training camps in the NFL. And Davis Sanchez is right over here. Oh, there's his head as the Elks attempted to end their 19-game home losing streak. That's right, 19 games. Edmonton just 1 loss away from tying the 1953 St. Louis Browns for the longest home losing streak in pro sports history. Their last win at Commonwealth came October the 12th of 2019. Elks are hosting Hamilton, by the way.
Cornelius.
They only have 1 win this season. 3-0 Elks under 5 to play in the second. Taylor Cornelius looking for Maurice French. He can't squeeze it. Cornelius 0-12 in his career at home. They would convert the field goal. The Elks would go up 6-0. And after the Tabbies took the lead on the ensuing drive, Cornelius to Kevin Brown, up the middle for the 50-yard run before being ruled down at the 10. And the Elks were looking to capitalize, facing 2nd and goal. On the call, rising star play-by-play caller, Dustin Nielsen.
And the ball is being marked at the 10. So 2nd and goal from the Hamilton 13. Pressure from the Ticats. Cornelius gets it away. Intercepted off the head troubled times continue for the Edmonton Elks.
Yes, Stephen Dunbar Jr. can't squeeze it. And Javian Elliott snatches it away for the incredible pick. Hamilton would go on to kick a field goal and go up 10-6 at the break. Opening drive of the third, Cornelius will connect with Kyron Moore, and Moore breaking multiple tackles into the end zone for the major score, and an Edmonton Elks lead. They're up 13-10. But then Hamilton retakes the lead on the ensuing drive, and then pure disaster for the Elks. Once again, Dustin Nielsen.
And run your quarterback right where that linebacker was.
Here's Cornelius in trouble, trying to get away. He will not. Oh, what is he doing? What is he doing? He throws it away. It's picked up and brought back by Captain's on his touchdown, Hamilton. What is happening? The Ticats strike again. Oh, my goodness.
2 weeks in a row, we get a "what is happening" from Dustin Nielsen. Cornelius, the interception. Stavros Katsantonis with the easy pick six. 24-13 Tabbies. Now, Matthew Schultz hit after the throw, grabs his left leg immediately. The Ticats QB helped off the field, eventually did not return. It's a lower body injury. So now it's Taylor Powell making his CFL debut, and on his very first pass attempt. Powell, this is his first CFL pass attempt, and it's a touchdown to Tim White. Edmonton made it somewhat interesting at the end, but Hamilton hands Edmonton a record-tying 20th straight loss at home. Here's Ryan Rashog with Stavros Katsantonis.
How about that? Stavros, a massive pick six. Definitely shifted momentum here in this game. Maybe just take us through that play.
Yeah, I mean, just playing man coverage there, and huge shout out to Jagarrett, just with a big sack. Rushing the quarterback to throw the ball, and he just threw it right into my hands, and we practiced getting takeaways and scoring. So I was just thinking, once I got the ball in my hands, just go score. So a huge shout out to my D-line on that play. Couldn't thank him enough.
Wasn't the start to the season that you wanted? Do you feel some momentum building, and where do you think the shift was?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, buys always help, but you know, we're not gonna back down from anything. We're not worried if we're 0-3, 0-4. We've had tough starts to the seasons, and we've rallied. So I think just taking everything week by week and just building from there.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
The Edmonton Elks already claimed the CFL's longest home losing streak back in October the 1st of last year, and now they co-own the longest home losing streak in sports history, along with the 1953 St. Louis Browns. By the way, that 1953 season ended up being the last for the St. Louis Browns. They moved to Baltimore and became the Orioles. We are hoping the same fate does not befall the Edmonton Elks, and they're not going to move to Red Deer or something like that. Here's Davis Sanchez. Great to see you, buddy. A lot of the same problems that have hounded the Elks all season back Thursday, including a quarterback.
Yeah, he's the most talented guy they have. That's the reality. After that third quarter interception, I thought they would, possibly go another direction. But, they've tried to go to other guys, and he's the best they have right now. It's just, when I look at the receiving core, the offseason, right? They went out and got some high-paid guys, and this is a Chris Jones issue as well, because he went out and paid receivers because he thought this was offense and Taylor was their guy. And now there hasn't been any rapport between these star receivers, Dunbar being one of them, Geno Lewis being the other, Mitchell, and Taylor Cornelius. But the problem, Jay, is they don't have anyone else to go to. So when you spend all this money on receivers, you don't have a quarterback, you're struggling with your offensive line, there's really nowhere to go. So, staying with Taylor Cornelius because he's your best option, sometimes you have to stand pat.
Chris Jones, when he came to Edmonton, the big concern was him leaving early, right? He always leaves early.
Right.
So the big concern was, I hope he stays. Well, now it's like, is his job actually in trouble?
No. Chris Jones he comes from the Don Matthews coaching tree, right? Extremely confident, and he's confident for a reason. Chris Jones he's the best available option out there right now. And I've been around Chris Jones. I played for Chris. I played for Don Matthews. The belief that he has, his team believes it as well. Yeah. Because it's authentic. It's real. Because the process, what they go through, the plan he has it worked out? Heck no. And some might think that I'm crazy for for saying that they have a plan and a process they should believe in after what you've been seeing.
Yeah.
But Chris there's not a smarter football guy in the CFL right now without a job that can come in and do what Chris Jones, or can come in and take over for Chris Jones. It might be better for a few weeks, but long term, Chris Jones is the answer, and it's tough because often the organization has to make moves to please their fan base, right?
Yeah.
But I think you're taking steps backwards. If you move on from Chris Jones, I think you're losing a good coach.
The Elks schedule, by the way, gets way worse after this. I mean, you've got Winnipeg next, then you have BC, then you have Winnipeg again. How much worse can this get for Edmonton?
We were looking at that earlier. They might not win a game for a while. They needed this one because now the rest of the teams they're playing are much more talented than them. Look, I mean, you got to keep chopping wood, and that's really all they can do, I think, for a fan base. Try to stay patient as you can because, you know, often they're going to be calling people. They're going to be calling for jobs, and there might be something that they have to do within the staff, and I think that's a possibility.
It feels like they've got to do something.
I think they have to do something. It's you know how it is, and you know, fans are shareholders in wherever market you're in, and the shareholders want to see some change, and so I believe they'll make change within their coaching staff, shift some things around a little bit just to show, you know, they're doing something. It won't involve Chris Jones.
You'll be back Friday Night Football. The undefeated Argos in Montreal. They'll take on the 2-2 Als. Davis, thanks for this, buddy.
Thank you. What a great suit, Jay.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. Well, the remaining schedule for Week 6 in the CFL is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. As I mentioned, undefeated Argos favored by 5.5 in Montreal. Saturday, the doubleheader. Dustin Crum. It's the Crum era. First career start for the Red Blacks. They'll host the Bombers. And in the second game, Saskatchewan plays Calgary. The Riders won the first meeting. An OT thriller back in week number 3.